All right. All right. Welcome, YouTube, to another co-working stream. It's 1:39 on, was it Wednesday, June 14th. Regular disclaimer to these videos. I'll get it out of the way. Co-working videos are captured live streams that are casual, messy, disorganized, full of rabbit holes, embarrassing mistakes, ranting, and occasional swear word. If you're looking for more organized, polished content, go to skillsec.io or the Beginner Boost. There. Now that's out of the way. Don't forget to don't forget to say hi. Don't forget to come by twitch.tv/rwxrob if you want to participate. We will be taking regular breaks that will not be on YouTube. That's where people answer questions and we listen to music and get crazy and try to keep the politics and ranting there. However, some of it spills off into our videos here. So that's my normal disclaimer. I'm trying to get better at doing that disclaimer fast. In fact, I added a Zet thing so that I can do Zet view disclaimer really quick, and I can just kind of bust that out there so that people that come to the videos know to just skip this video as opposed to wasting 7 hours of their day going through my video. What's a Zet? A Zet is my Zettelcast, and do exclamation point Zet, and you will be able to go see all of that. I don't know if I should necessarily say that. That I probably should add that to my little disclaimery kind of thingy. I mean, what do y'all think? You're gonna have to watch this because I'm gonna do this now. So co-working spiel. Co-working stream, co-working video explanation. How about that? Disclaimer. I like disclaimer. It's like, don't blame me if you keep watching it. I know it's your own fault. So yeah, so I do want to put this in here though. So anything, we should probably put some stuff here. So and see, anything created during the session is in the lab, https github.com /rwxrob lab. This is where I put all of my artifacts. If there's a big fancy word. Often notes and discoveries are written in my Zettelkasten thing, which is really messy and full of my own random ramblings. That is in zet.git. Let's see, rwxrob.github.io/zet. You can go try that. In fact, let's go clip that on that really quick right now. Wait, where is it? There it is. It's horrible. It uses a default. Latest editions updates, you can go here. See, here's my disclaimer I just wrote, but it hasn't been updated. This is just how I take notes and stuff. It's not the best thing. It's just something I have right now. Eventually it needs to be improved. We're actually going to cover a little bit of, and that, what else does somebody trying to follow me need to know? If they want to go check out the Discord, okay, yeah, so everything is streamed live, including breaks. Musical breaks everything is streamed live at https rwxrob.tv, which should send you to Twitch. Whoopsie. Maybe not. Maybe it hasn't been set to do that. I might have to mess with the redirect, actually. Yeah, I think I might have to mess with the redirect. I think my redirect might be broken right now. Yes, because I was messing with it. Twitch.tv/rwxrob. Yep. Stream live, blah, blah, blah. Anything created during a session is in blah. Those discoveries are written in there. So that's where we do everything. If you have questions, I don't really read the comments, so questions about anything can be posted into the Discord, which is what is the URL for the Discord? Let's go ahead and put that there. Again, I'm going to add this to every single video that I post. That's doing anything. Hey, Cyber, how you doing? Somebody do exclamation point Discord, or I can, I guess. I created commands for this. Yeah, thank you. There we go. So, copy link address. Yup. Let's put that there. All right. Can we, join the Discord for questions and feedback. I don't normally read details. Read YouTube video comments, although I probably should. That's just so there you go. There's my disclaimer. Now I can like put that in every video, and then I don't have to do this every time. It's becoming a normal thing. I'm starting to do it every day as long as I can. The problem is a lot of the stuff that I work is just co-working, and so a certain percentage of the video, not this part obviously, is billable. So that therefore I definitely want to put that in here as well. Thank you for doing that too. Good portion of co-working streams are while I'm actually working. Not a lot of time for queue for questions and off topic other than breaks. Yeah, I think I've written most of this stuff up already, but I'm going to go ahead and put it here. So, you pour some co-working streams while I'm actually working, yeah. All right. You pour some okay. Very welcome. In other words, if I'm doing something wrong, please tell me why, and I will read it. I won't read it right away. All right. There. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I feel like we're making progress already. So let's actually get on to the main event here. Should we say something about the Pomo? Watch the tomato. All right, to see when the next break or start will happen. Anyway. How about that? And then you know what? I wish I could change it to do a. I wish I could do a different one. So. Yeah, because I'm also using the Pomo to like tell me when we're going to start again, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's usually the top of the hour though, so people can come in. I spy a tomato. I know it's up there. Regs are usually at the top of the hour if you want to lurk and do other stuff. So that was actually a request from somebody. They requested that we do breaks at the top of the hour instead of doing the normal Pomo thing, because that way they could go work on something and come back, and they would know that at the top of the hour there would be a break, and they could, if they had a question for me, they could come back at that time and ask, and be generally, you know, they would, you know, that they would have a better chance of having an answer or something. ParaOS, yes, I do, but that would be a question for the break. I don't use any operating system except for Ubuntu and Ubuntu, Red Hat, and Alpine, because I have a job. So, and you know, those are the main operating systems of the working world. And ParaOS is cool and stuff, but you know, I'm not against experimenting with things like that, but I don't have a lot of time for that, so I don't play around with that stuff. And believe it or not, we actually are going to have a break here in 10 minutes. Where if you want to talk about that more, we can. Let's for the rest of the 10 minutes on this particular interval, let's actually get on with it. And let's go ahead to just a recap of where we are. We've got all of our containers and TLS and certs. I'm not going to recap what we've done in the other weeks, but I don't think it's worth it. Maybe I can do it in a sentence or two, because some people might be coming into this stream and they might not have seen the other 8-hour stream. So it also helps me kind of reset my brain. So let me go ahead and just restate where we are. All right. And I'm only going to take like 5 or 10 minutes on this, and then we're going to take our break and we come back and we're going to code like a boss for like an hour or so and go. So let's just recap. So we have successfully created, and I actually have a video on, I have an Excalibur on this, if I can find it. We have created a Keycloak, and we've created a resource to use Keycloak as an oidc provider, so that we can create a Go tool that uses the CoreOS Go oidc library to discover and pull down access tokens using route type equals password, which has been deprecated, so that we can add username and password authentication from the command line without a web interaction in the flow to our Kubernetes cluster. Now, we started configuring Minikube to be able to test the authentication, but strictly speaking, that part of the piece is not required for what I'm trying to deliver here. So if I will do that, but that part of it's not going to be really on the clock for the coworking thing. But the main goal here is to get the Go code for which we created a development container that's got Go pre-configured. And speaking of which, if you want to get going with the boost, you can go to the YouTube video. You go to my YouTube site, and the main video on the YouTube site is how to get started using the Go development container, which is now 2 gigabytes. It's gotten bigger since we added all the Go binaries for editing with Vim-Go, which we discovered we didn't have yesterday. So all of that is described in the boost videos as well. But in fact, we kind of piggybacked the need to create a baseline development, a baseline container for all these different pieces, with the need for the skill stack, ws-skill stack image, which is what we've been using. Okay. And so that's what we got going on. We put everything into scripts here. This script, this took us a while to arrive at this perfect. This is the absolute perfect Keycloak startup Podman script. This is so good. This actually includes a CRT, which the root CAs, which is the thing that we were testing. When you're trying to test root CAs and see if they work or not, setting up a root CA is probably not essential. You probably already have one on your internal infrastructure, but being able to spin one up really fast is the thing. I actually did really recently. If you want to read my thoughts on, I mentioned it briefly yesterday, but if you want to read my thoughts about my use of OpenSSL and my position on the Cloudflare SSL tool, CFSSL, which is written in Go, as well as a number of other resources that are out there, such as bounce.org, which is an entirely Python-driven web-based interface that is really cool. I'm not going to ever do that on the clock, but that is something I really want to look at. Here's why. Because getting your head around certificates and CAs and intermediate CAs and the different types of like leaf certificates like server, OSCA and stuff, and getting your head around what those certs are for, how would you use them, why would you use them, that's a pretty big deal. And it's a major prerequisite to learning Kubernetes. You can't really become a Kubernetes administrator without understanding certificates. There, I said it. And and I only have had, my certificates knowledge has not been very good. So let me just say that if your career path involves learning Kubernetes and doing that sort of thing, which is well past the boost knowledge, right, then you should definitely put learning about certificates in your learning plan. And a big piece of learning about certificates is not just understanding OpenSSL, which is the tool that's the default tool for years, but it's also understanding how those certificates are organized, what parts of the certificate are not necessary and what are. And actually, one of the benefits, I'll just restate it from yesterday, one of the benefits of using the CFC SSL tool or this really pretty bounce.org, which I don't have anything here using it right now, but I just want to show it to you. One of the, I believe, the benefits of using something like this is that when you kind of decompose how the thing works, you can see, you get a sense of what certificates are and how they manage with each other. And there's probably good documentation out there in Udemy courses, stuff like that. But here we have, like, here's a root CA, and, what are the fields in a root CA? This is one of those times when a GUI is kind of nice, I'll have to admit, because you get a real sense of what an actually, well-configured certificate looks like without all of the extra leprous, disease cruft that has been added to the RFC for certificates because of Netscape and Mozilla and all the crap that happened in the 90s. So, there's a lot of extra fields and extensions that you don't need for modern certificates, and looking at one of these tools like Bounce CA or maybe Great Authentic or something like that is maybe going to be helpful to help you see what are the main fields and what is the essential stuff to learn. So a tool like Bounce CA, which I have not looked at all other than looking at the screenshots, is showing you about certificates, what is a PEM file versus a CRT file, what's an intermediate certificate, why are there 3 kinds of certificates for intermediate Bounce CA, new server cert, client cert, and OCSP cert. All of these things, are things that you might not know about or you might need a refresher on, right? So my advice is to look at some of the some of the simpler tools out there so that you can get a handle on the association and the terms used, etc. And then you can you can go through all of that and learn about it. So one of the ways to do that, as I've always said, is to go look at the source code. So if you view the GitLab project here, you can actually see that it's all Python code, and you can kind of get a sense of how a thing works. Another way to do that would be to look at the Cloudflare SSL tool, which I originally said I hate Cloudflare. I actually do hate Cloudflare. I think they're, as a foundation, as a company, are a massive fail. They shouldn't exist, and it doesn't matter. The whole world has decided to use them. Which is a big issue all by itself I don't want to talk about, but they do have a tool written in Go called SSL, and SSL, which is a lot easier to use than some of the other things, so it's less risk and error prone, which is kind of the thing I wanted to start with today. So if you want to dig into certificates and stuff, you might be okay with one of these. There's another one called Easy RSA, which is another tool that, as you understand it, you can kind of play around with these simpler tools and make fewer mistakes in your certificate generation from the beginning, and then you, when you need to, you can like go down the the deep dark path of knowing OpenSSL as a secondary thing. Now this is me just it's kind of a retrospective, because I definitely didn't do that. I went into the OpenSSL first, and it cost me a lot of time. It cost me probably 3 to 4 days. 2 days at least to just get my head around OpenSSL extensions, which involved reading the man page for OpenSSL. I didn't open the RFC, thank God, but I would have been really busy reading all that stuff. So it might serve you better to use some of these other tools to get your head around PKI and the whole idea of certs in general, and then move on from there. So that's all I have to say about that. I think that probably covers this for this moment. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of the comments. Let's see if any of these comments are actually relevant to the stream. Let's see. Somebody says, Cyber Centurion says, I just want to say thanks for the streams, Rob. I appreciate it. How am I doing today? I am good. How you doing, Cybergenic? Cyber seems to be the thing to have in your name today. You saw my video on Rust. I thought it was quite true in lots of ways, but I still think Rust is pretty useful. I agree. I don't think it's much of a plague. I think well, I may have overstated. Rust may not be a plague. Micro VMs are a thing. Look, Rust has a place. I've said that over and over and over again. Would I use it given the governance team? Hell no. Would I put my company as a dependency, have a core dependency on the Rust language itself? No way. On a tool that uses Rust, maybe, but not on the Rust as for my own, because I don't trust the Rust team at all. And I don't think anybody else should trust the Rust team, and I think they've proven that point overwhelmingly. Resist surge to defend Cloudflare and blame monoliths instead. Rust hating videos. Oh, it's probably my favorite. Where is my Rust hating video? It's my biggest hit. I've become known as the Rust hater online. They made a Reddit thread just to counter my, just to I during well, I don't want to talk about it. Same time, die. Learn it and watch your career die with it. Yeah. No, I think. Look, if your career will die if you learn Rust and only Rust. Show me how many jobs there are to learn Rust. Go. Look, I don't want to get into it. I got to stop talking now. It's time for me to take a break. It's such a going. It's a shame this community is so toxic. Absolutely. The worst part of Rust is its users. No kidding. And I made a video about that 2.5 years ago, said that exact thing, and everyone else is like saying, hey, guess what? The community is pretty toxic, and the governance board doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah, I told you that 2.5 years ago. All right, time for a break. All right, we're back from the break. YouTube, welcome. But an instant for you. Okay, so what do? We got our tokens. We're going to be logging into a development server back here. If you want to see my lab, you go to !lab in Twitch, and it'll show you the link to that. Which is different, by the way, than my. I should probably put that in the disclaimer. Yeah, let me see that. I should probably put a link to my Excalibur. Let's see. My home lab is documented graphically at. Somebody have that? Let me put that out there for everybody. Yes. Dan's party in the living room. You should do that. Yes, definitely do that. But I have to go back to work. I am working, believe it or not. Copy link address. Excalibur, my friends. You can go do Excalibur. I use that for my drawings and stuff. And so yeah, you can go look at this. So I'm just restating what I already do. A lot of you already know this. So this is HP 640. This diagram is air gapped, but we're not doing air gapped anymore. This is temporarily on a 198 network, 192 network. But this is a machine. The specs for this machine are, I think, under computer. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to allow people to follow along if they want, so that it's not completely useless information. So, like, if you want to see, like, I think it's machine. Is it machine or is it computer? There we go. I think this is that has all those details on it. Yeah, this is the okay, yeah, the home lab one. This has my hardware on it. This is not completely accurate anymore, but it's probably worth listing here. Pics of my home machines are. And sorry for the little lunchtime delay there. I get stuck in doing this stuff a lot, but I also work longer, so no free IPA. We just got that, no Proxmox. So that should help. Yeah, it was definitely hyperbolic saying to die to Rust. That was hyperbolic, yes, for sure. All right. All right. So why did I pull that up? Because I'm about to SSH into home.rbx.gg. You know what? Why does this? I think the host file gets rewritten every day, every time you restart a container. I swear to God, it does. Can anybody confirm that? Can anybody confirm that? Here we go again. It's not saved. For the cookies talk. Oh God. That's on YouTube now, so you can go watch. Actually, no, I don't think that made it on that was me yelling at Mark Andreessen. Yeah. I swear. Look, I gotta prove this to myself. 68.1.200. I'm gonna do something to prove this. I have added this every day. Every single day I have added this host entry, and every single day it goes away. I have no idea. No, but here's the thing. Okay, so watch. I swear it goes away every time. HPZ 640. I cannot explain why. It's a host file in the container, yeah. And I just reattach to the same container and it goes away. Something to do with reattaching and starting a container does something to the host file. And I maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm just crazy. Because every single morning I've been coming in, I've had to go like this, and I wanted to do my tab completion, right? And I always add it to the host file every morning. It's the same exact thing. So I think what might be happening is I don't know what's happening. What the hell am I saying? I don't know. Watch this. Watch. I'm gonna try it again. This is like driving me crazy. I gotta. The system thinks it knows the host file. Crazy. You think it is rewriting it? I think it is. I truly believe it is. Yeah, I think it is. Watch. So that's new to me. I did not know that the init process rewrote the etsy host file on a container when it started up. That is like totally news to me. So look. So right now I have. Let me get all the way out on my container, right? So now this is git bash on Windows. So if I do podman ps-a, you'll see there's a bunch of stuff here. Podman ps is here. The container that I want to run, that I always run, is called WS. It's my workspace container that I've just been modifying and editing as I go, because I don't want to make a new one every time, even though I do keep a master image updated. So this is a container, right? I mean, yeah. There's no systemd, right? If the host file does not have the entry that I just added, then that means that making changes to the etsy host file do not persist beyond a stop and start of a container in Podman. That's what we're testing, and it doesn't make any sense. I know it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. And before I even did it with sudo, look, it's gone. I'm telling you, it's gone. It's gone. I just proved it. I'm going to do it again. 192.168.1.200. I am not going crazy. HPC 640. Home.rbx.gg. Okay, save the host file, right? I mean, let's make sure it's there. I am adding it to the system host file. I added it to look. It's not in the base image because for it to be in the base, I mean, I could commit an image if I wanted to and make a base image and have it stay and persist and everything. But the main revelation to me is that files change between invocations of a container. We're not talking about a new one or a new image. We're talking about reattaching to an existing container. We're talking about that the startup process for a container screws up the etsy host file. That to me, that was news to me. I would never have expected that. Okay, so SSH tab home whatever. Actually, SSH home tab. Wait, what? Why isn't it doing it? Wait, it's not there anymore. Or is it? SSH home. Now it's not doing tab completion either. This is so weird. This is very weird. Read-only file. Oh, oops, sorry. I know I should know this. This is remedial. I'm sorry. I feel like I should know this. I've been having a lot of that this week. I've been feeling like everything is, I should know. I should just know it, and I don't. I feel like other people know more than me on this, and they do. I know a lot of things, but just big dose of imposter syndrome this week. Not knowing. Why is it fucking doing tab completion? It was doing that before too. Did it throw away best completion? See, it mounts from a tempfs mount by the runtime container. What does SE host? And a lot have config maps. The point in containers, kind of, yes. But if it's, look, a running container is not supposed to reset. That's running, look. My understanding is that attaching to a container that has been stopping a starting container is supposed to not change the state of the container. It's supposed to still be there. It's like freezing a process, kind of. Do a mount. Are you telling me it's a config map? Oh my god. Etzios is a tempfs. Well, no wonder. So it gets turned off and it goes away. Etsy host is special, absolutely. Some files need to be modified at runtime. Well, Etsy host obviously does if you're gonna do network. That makes sense because the container engine would have to do, like, if you do, whatever -- network or whatever. Yeah, I would have to do all kinds of stuff to that. Yeah, TFFS. Yeah. Yeah, resolve.com is probably the place to put it for DNS resolution, but is resolve.com. Let's actually, what are all the this is important information for me to understand about containers. And I am embarrassed that I don't know this stuff. I really am. I'm sincerely embarrassed. So rather than all of us being embarrassed, I can just be embarrassed for you, and we can look at this. And once again, my eternal gratitude to those who have helped me realize my failures here, who deal with this stuff every day. So there are a lot of tempfs things. Yeah, there are. Actually, let's do grep using grep-e. Yeah, and then let's do at the beginning of a space. How about that? That was far fewer. So those are all the tempfs stuff. So we have a Etsy host is tempfs / dev is tempfs, obviously. Run container env. Okay, that's new. I didn't know that. Run secrets is tempfs. This is cool. This is insight for me. I need to run TMUX here, and I need to make a Zettelkasten note about this so I can go look it up later. That you didn't know everything. It gives me depression working with Kubernetes. Podman run no hosts. That's a thing. Damn. LBG's got all kinds of wisdom today. Grep -e, which is the POSIX one. We talked about that in the boost, by the way, this week. There's a boost. Watch the boost. Saturdays at 11 Eastern. So grep-e space tempfs. I know it's lazy, but I don't care. I could probably do mount fs tab, but this stuff all gets mounted dynamically. So why do I care about that? Because I'm going to go put this. I'm going to put this in my Zet. I'm going to make a thing about this because I learned something and I want to write about it. Not many tempfs files in are reset when start -a to to existing container. What is a container, by the way? A container is an instance of an image that's running, that's been started. That's what we're saying here. I was shocked to learn that local modifications to Etsy hosts were lost after exiting and later podman start-a to reconnect. I had added them so that SSH would do tab completion, which can also accomplished in other ways. I discovered after a friend told me that Etsy hosts is actually a tempfs type that is reset upon every restart of the container. In other words, changes are not persisted. Did I get that right? There's also add host strings, custom host IP mapping, argument to podman run, yes. Run the host. Actually, honestly, all I wanted to do was to just have this particular image know about Etsy hosts, and it didn't. So even if I had created an image, it wouldn't have stayed because Etsy hosts is actually is modified every time you run. And I can only assume that it pulls it. Well, it obviously doesn't pull from the host file of the host system when you're running wherever the container engine is. So run secrets is interesting too. I also know some other things. The shared memory, that's normally tempfs. Etsy hostname is a tempfs. That's so you can do -- hostname. The fact that it's a tempfs and that it's just a single file though absolutely fascinates me. I often wondered with config maps in Kubernetes how they were pulling off mounting single files as a config map, and I'm now thinking that might not have been a very unique thing, that tempfs has all along been able to mount a single file as a file system, and I need to look into that. I need to research how that works. I've not used that. The idea of mounting a single file as a tempfs is absolutely it's new to me. That's new. I mean, I've dealt with Kubernetes, but I thought it was a Kubernetes only kind of thing, but apparently not. So cgroup itself, is a tempfs. Firmware dev block. I mean, usually when I see a tempfs, I expect it to be a directory, right? That's been mounted on top of it. I don't expect it to be a single file. I've never seen a single file mount. And I guess strictly speaking, they're just inodes, so you can do that. But the idea being that if I actually cat out Etsy hosts, that is a temporary file system that's been mounted for a single file that equates to having the content of a single file as opposed to a directory. And I think I'm learning something about how the Linux file system mounting works that I didn't know before because it wasn't particularly used, and that is that you can mount either a directory or a file onto any mount point from tempfs folder. Yeah. So I think that is what I'm saying, right? And I actually this is not my immediate job responsibility, but this is something I want to learn. So can I mount a file in Linux to a mount point, or does it have to be a directory, right? How to mount and you mount a file systems in Linux. Normally, when you're talking about mounting file systems, especially as a beginner, you're talking about mounting entire, disk drives, block devices to a specific mount point, and that includes an entire file system, which is more than one directory at that point. So I don't know what bind mounted is. So Linux mount command and examples. So it's going to be very hard to find information about the question that I have, because 98% of all the information on the internet about mounting file systems in Linux is going to be mounting block devices onto the top of a directory, and then you would have a directory and you would mount on top of that. Mounting something on top of a file, not a directory, is not something I've ever seen before other than in Kubernetes. So I want to understand it for a second, because this is the first time I've seen it. We go over the basis of attaching and detaching various file systems using the mount command. How to list mount of file systems mount. This I know. By default, the output will mount file systems, including the virtual ones such as GroupFS, SSFS, and others. Each line contains information about the device name. Is there a specific parameter in the mount information that defines this particular mount type as a single file? Dev, rel time, size, NR nodes, mode 7. Nope, nothing particularly interesting in that. I do use mount. I know mount. When used without any argument, the mount command will display current attached file systems. All right, by default, device name, blah, 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 blah. And normally you'd mount like an ext4, which is just the main journal file system for Linux these days. Thank God we don't have any of the old ones without journaling. So this is a typical mount, right? So you'd mount SDB1, and then under MNT you put media, and then you just go into media, and that's where USB stick is, and you're good to go. It's like a navigatable file system at that location. What I don't understand is how to mount a single file to. I don't get that. I've never seen it. I want to know if it's something new, if it's something that's always been there that we just haven't used before. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I bet you if we search for the stuff about Etsy host, we'll probably find something about it, because that is one of the obviously the common occurrences of that type of mount, and containers are pretty common. Let's revise our search. Let's see. How is Etsy host mounted in a container? How can you make Docker container use the Etsy host machine file? Okay, so this is a Stack Exchange, which we usually have to go through to get to the good stuff. It's never at the top, by the way. I know there's an add host option for the Docker run. It's not exactly what I want. The host machine's Etsy host file may be different from a different machine, so it's not great for hardcore exact IP addresses with add host. Nope. I dare suggest that maybe you rather want to set a DNS in the container, take the host Etsy host into account. I mean, those are the normal things that people recommend. It's like, dude, spend time like adding DNS entries to your local DNS or your upstream or whatever. And I have that. I have that. But by upstream DNS is not used for an SSH completion, which is why I usually will add one to do that. Etsy host account, the same situation. Points to the blah blah blah. Little bit, but here or there are Etsy host daemon. Containers networking. Unfortunately, this is not a word. Okay. Let's see. Network host is Docker run command. No, not the answer I'm looking for. How you doing? Network host, emphasizing the comment about the host network. What I have one specific question I'm trying to answer, and if anybody knows the answer, help me out. Does the ability to mount an entire tempfs into a single file, is that a bastardization of the regular mount system by the container engine? Is the container engine leveraging the mount infrastructure to mount a single file as opposed to an entire file directory? Bind mounts. All right, let's search for bind mounts. What is a bind mount? Or is this, what I want to know is has this been a standard part of Linux all along and nobody uses, or is this something that the container engine world has added? Because it's very much like the Kubernetes stuff, config maps mounting files as mount points, right? And what I'm thinking is that the Kubernetes stuff might actually be just borrowing from the bind mount idea from what has always existed and is just using it in that way. And it's very unknown to most people to see that. They don't see that. So what is a bind mount? Let's go read about it. What is a bind mount? How do I make one? I've been told to use a bind mount for something, but I don't understand what it is or how to use it. Join the club. What is a bind mount? A bind mount is an alternative view of a directory tree. Classically, mounting creates a view of a storage device, a directory tree. Yes. A bind mount instead takes an existing directory tree and replicates it under a different point. The directories and files of the bind mount are the same as the original. Minification on this side is immediately reflected on the other side. That's just a regular mount. For example, after issuing the command bind somewhere else or have the same content, which is a content of somewhere. That's not. I don't think this is the same thing. I don't think so. This is just a different way of mounting. But you can bind mount files. Unlike a hard link or symlink. Oh, that makes so much sense. So it's like a hard link or a symlink, except for it's using the mount command. What? Unlike a hard link or symlink, bind mount doesn't affect what is stored on the file system. It's a property of a live file system of the live system. Damn. This is something I never learned about. I've been doing Linux for 30 years, and I've never heard about a bind mount. And maybe that just shows how little I know. I mean, I must have been more of a dev on Linux, but still. Bindfs file system is a fuse file system. That's a totally different thing. It's a fuse file system which creates a view directory tree, for example, bindfs. That's a specific file system type. I don't think that's what we're talking about here. Oh, bindfs.org. This is them talking about their product, bindfs. Yeah, so they're explaining what a bind is, what a bind thing is, and then this is like, it took me like 40 years to learn about. I was like, what? I was 50 before I even learned about multicol binaries and BusyBox and Alpine and everything. Yeah, there's like, I keep finding like major things out about Linux that I, have been around. Multicol binaries are so cool, and anyway, okay, so you can bind mount long story short, a bind mount is akin to a symlink or a hard link done in the file system mounting system. And you can bind mount to directories, and you can bind mount files to files. And that's what's going on. So the rest of this information is here, and I'm going to go read about that. So that would be help, actually, mounted man. This does not have -- bind, which I find interesting. Bind option, here we go. So the bind mount operation, remount part of the file hierarchy somewhere else. The call is mount bind. Remount part of the file hierarchy somewhere else. I'm just going to restate it. I'm going to restate it. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm going to restate it. A bind mount is a glorified symlink, hard link. A bind mount is a glorified hard link. I'm going to say it again. A bind mount is a glorified hard link. Right? That's all it is. It's a glorified hard link. Yep. Implemented in VFS layer, not FS layer. Yeah. I mean, the effective result of a bind map is a glorified hard link, because any changes to this stuff under the one place will change it under the other place, right? And that is the definition of a hard link. And people go years and years before understanding how hard links even work, or that's what the number in the ls output is actually about. And it's not part of the file system. It doesn't survive a reboot. Are you saying that bind mounts by very definition are temp FSs? I think that's what you're saying. I think that's what you're saying. I think you're saying that by definition, a bind mount is going to use a tempfs. Let's try it. Let's like, RWX experiment. This has been worth the time for me. Other people may not think so, but for me, it definitely has been. So if I wanted to make a new copy of Etsy password, let's say, right? So I could do a hard link like this. I could do ln. Well, I'm not rude. Let's do this on a container that I'm not going to break. Podman, run it, remove. Actually, no. Let's keep it around because I want to reattach to it. Let's just get an Ubuntu container. What am I doing wrong? Oh, SSH home dot whatever. All right. So Podman, run it. Ubuntu. I just got to do this. Part of the kernel mount state, not necessarily the tempfs. Interesting. All right. So we got this is just random Ubuntu, right? So let's say, I don't care where. Make directory, foo, cd into foo, and if you wanted a Etsy to have two copies of Etsy password, effectively you could do, ln Etsy password, and that will give you a password file. And if you ls-l that file, you'll see that it has two hard links right here. Obviously, hard links cannot span the file system, so you cannot have hard links that go across file systems. The same reason you can't move files across file systems, you have to copy them. And that's a bigger LSBLK. I'll show you all the block devices. Actually, no, there's none of that over there. That's weird. So anyway, so if I change Etsy password here, which we're going to throw this away, so it doesn't matter. Oh my God. I didn't want to have to do that, but well. No Vim. I can't believe they took Vim out. That's so stupid. Is Nano there by default? I doubt it. It's a tiny. All right, so. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to do Etsy password. So let's go down here and let's actually say something. So this is just the text field. That's not going to affect anything, right? And if I do Etsy password, you'll see it's the same. We can cat that out. We can actually grep it out. Grep something. And then if we grep at that out of, the /password, which is foo password /foo, we see both have it. The file is identical, right? And we know that because you can look at the modification time on the file. This is just a rehashing of what hard links are. So I want to demonstrate the similarity between hard links and bind mounts. Okay, so these have both been modified on the same date, the same size, and there's two here. That means there's two hard links to the file. I can delete one of these, and the other one will still exist, right? That is different than a symbolic link. A symbolic link, you can delete the thing that it's pointing to, and the symbolic link will break because it's pointing to something that doesn't exist anymore. That is not the case with hard links. By the way, Alpine and BusyBox use hard links. Actually, one of them uses symlinks and the other one uses hard links because of the limitations of the number of hard links you can have and the number of total max inodes or something, or open inodes. And that they use that to use multiple binaries. So they basically have the same binary hard linked like 433 times or something like that, with a name for each one of the basic commands that exist under Unix. And so multiple binaries depend heavily on links like this. So that's just to get a sense of how linking works. This is why when I make the statement that bind mounts are, essentially a different form of linking without the linking. So let's actually try a bind mount to do Etsy password and bind mount a file, which I have never done in my life. So I'm taking a moment to learn it. We're going to use the regular mount command, mount. Now, I have a feeling if I were going to try to mount over a password file, that this would not work without dash dash bind. In fact, I want to see what that error would look like, because normally mount involves mounting a block device or something like that. So I don't think it'll work. If I like try to do, let's see, wait, do we have an MNT directory? No. Okay, let's make a directory. /MNT. Oh, all right. Well, I thought it didn't. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say mount etc password, which is a file, not a directory, to MNT my password. Mount point does not exist. Did I do it wrong? No, I don't. I want to get rid of the bind thing. I want to try it without the bind just to see. What is the order amount? What is the order? What one comes first? The device, the type, and the device, and then the directory. Okay. So, yeah, it didn't work. But if I do... Oh, wait. We can't mount something unless we have a directory. So we have to actually make the directory to mount on, but it's top of. I forgot about that. So let's do that. So even in, yeah. So we have to make a directory, MNT, but this doesn't make any sense because this is a directory and it's going to be a file we're going to try to mount. That's the point of my confusion. And we're deliberately trying to do this using the mount commands on purpose just to see if it'll even work. Permission denied, sudo. Are you kidding me? I'm root. And you're mounting a file system. I know. I'm deliberately trying to break it first. All right, so I am Groot. Is a bind mount. I know it's a bind mount. I know, but I'm trying to. If I forgot to put dash, okay. So to satisfy all you people, I know to put dash dash bind. I am just trying to see what would happen if I tried it without that. And we just saw nothing will happen. But let's remove that directory. So there's another key distinction between mounting, using the regular mounts. Usually when you do regular mounting, you already have to have a directory there to mount on top of, right? And what I'm trying to decide is if I can, I'm trying to break things. I'm trying to see if I can mount to something that already exists. And I seriously doubt it. Using single files. I want to make sure that this doesn't exist, and this requires dash dash bind, and that bind is the only way to do it. And so that's why I'm deliberately breaking things and doing it wrong. So etc password to MNT my password. So this should not work. This is mounting a file to a file without doing dash dash bind. This should not work. Right? No sudo. Okay, we're already root. There. That's what I want. Okay. So this says, oh, it has to be a directory. Normally when you use the mount command without dash dash bind, which is a glorified hard link we're going to show, then you can't do it, which is why I was confused. How can etc host be a mount? Well, it's a bind mount according to LBG. Thank you for everybody telling about this. Yeah, I'm always breaking stuff. And the point is that this mount, so we can't mount this, and we get the error that we would normally see if we were to try to do bind mount. Now, this is very likely something that you would type if you were trying to do this, but watch the magic now. So wait. So another thing, I want to know if bind mounts automatically create the target mount point, which if you're mounting a directory on top of a device or something on top of a directory, the directory has to be there. And that's a separate problem all by itself, because you can actually have stuff in that directory and end up shadowing that. It's a great way to hide the stuff, by the way. To anybody who doesn't know, which they should know, but you can actually mount another block device on top of a directory that already has something in it that's part of the underlying file system. And if you mount over the top, you're like, where did all my stuff go? It's still there. You're just mounted over the top over it, and you've totally hidden it. Internally it doesn't use the mount syscall. It uses the mount move, which is part of the FS namespace call. Nice. All right, so that helps us. So I'm going to try to remove that mount point and find out if the bind mount requires the creation of the file in advance. It might. I don't know. I'm trying to this experimentation to kind of learn about how this works. So if I don't need sudo because we're rearray. So as you can see, memmt my password does not exist. I just removed it, and I'm going to try to mount a single file over the top. Now that's not going to work because the mount point doesn't exist, and it's still trying to do directory mounting. Even if I added a directory, it would say if I added a file and I try to do it, it'd say can't do it. It's not a directory because that's traditional mounting. But if I add bind or -o bind, then we might, O is the option that would normally go under FS tab. Then, the mount point doesn't exist. This is new information. So that means I actually have to create the file, which I assume is a file and not a directory. This is very interesting to me because it'll be really weird if I have to create a directory to do a file bind mount on top of the directory, and it won't allow me to mount over a single inode entry. That will be really fascinating to me. So I'm making a single file, and then we're going to mount bind mount over the top of that. So the bind mount is not a directory. This is so weird. This is so weird because I actually know where this is going. I think I know where this is going. And I'm going to have to create a directory in order to mount a bind mount a file on top of it, which is just blows my mind because that means that only directory inodes are available to be mounted, even if the bind mount represents a single file, which can really blow your mind. All right, I have a feeling that that's it. That means we have to do make dir and my password, and then we're going to do bind mount. And I bet you this works. Nope, it didn't. Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? Why didn't that work? Because there's a permissions problem. What do we forget, my friends? Is it because it's too permissive? MNT my password. The one with the last file should have worked. Must be the container stopping it. You think so? You think it's the container that's stopping it? You think the one with the file before that binding to the file should work like that, yeah? I mean, let's go look at our documentation and see. Let's go look at bind mounting again. So, old directory, new directory. This is to bind some portion of the directory to some other portion of the directory. And here is the definitive stuff from the actual man page. You understand that bind does not create a second class or special node in the kernel VFS. The bind is just another operation to attach a file system. There is nowhere stored information that the file system has been attached by bind operation. The older and older are independent of the older, and the older may be unmounted. One can also remount a single file on a single file. All right, so this here is I've never read that before. Before today, I did not know this was a thing. And I think that's pretty damn cool. So that confirms that what we did previously should have worked, but it's being stopped probably because of the container engine. We will try it on our host OS after this. One can also remount a single file on a single file. It is also possible to use the bind mount to create a mount point from a regular directory. For example, the bind mount call attaches only part of a single file system, not possible submounts. The entire file hierarchy, including submounts, is attached to a second place by using. Oh wow! So you can use the whole thing. Mount options maintained by the kernel will remain the same as those the original mount point. The user space mount underscore name will not be. Nothing will happen there. -o bind is the way to do it. Supported Linux kernel is implemented by user space and additional mount remounts. Classic bind, older, new dir. Remount bind. Note that the read-only bind is also changed to UID. Okay, so other than that, it's all the regular bind stuff. So, I see your girl that was too permissive once. Lol. Podman RM. What was that one that we just had? I'm guessing it was keying something. I'm trying to keep my containers clean over here. I don't want to, you know. So let's try it on the host OS for better or worse. Yeah. Other buy mounts from installing Gentoo. Are buying dev to mount Gentoo dev. Cool. Yeah, that's just, it's kind of like a symlink, but not. Normally I don't do things as root. This is usually a bad idea, but I kind of want to figure this out. Okay, so mount -- bind etc password to mnt password. I think the file has to exist. I have to create the file first, I think. Yeah. We're trying to determine if the bind mount's not working because of this and doing it in a container. Yep, that was it. All right, so a lot of stuff learned there that I'm going to write about. This is super amazing to me. I got to tell you, I am like blown away. Yeah. Grab password. Yep, so that is weird. I don't understand. That doesn't seem like that's the right thing. I don't think it should have done that. Why did it mount all of the ext4 on there? Wait, so this created a virtual file system, isolated it down to one file from the virtual file system, and then mounted that? That's exactly what it did. Holy cow. Holy cow, that just blew my mind. Oh my god, I got to think about this for a second. Okay, let me just unpack this. So it's just using bind mounting. Okay, so the thing that's so weird about that is it's dev SDA2, which is the same. That is the. I have never fully understood this. I'm going to tell you right now. Oh my god, it actually made a disk partition. You got to be kidding me. Oh my god, I am like blown away. The file system of the original file. But look, you see what I'm talking about here? It didn't. It's a special type of mount. Yeah, it is. But okay, the reason that this is so important to a guy like me is looking at this right here would totally freak me out. Find mount dot. What are you talking about? You're talking about from inside the directory? I don't know what that command is. I don't use find mount very much. Find a file system. Okay, so I have so much stuff I have to write down here because I thought I understood this stuff. I absolutely don't. Oh damn! Look at that. Okay. I have got to write this down in my set. I have to. I'm gonna forget this information. I want to do this. So understand. Let's see. Bind mounts are glorified hard links. That work with files. I mean, that's it's a simplification for understanding it. It's actually a lot more complicated and involves virtual file systems. Is that right? So the find mnt command will show what's up. Will show which mounts. This is actually documented under --bind in the mount command man page. Man mount bind yeah. I don't want to do that one. I want to do this one. This is cool. This is the origin of config maps. Yeah. That allow you to bind files onto file systems. It's probably just using a bind mount to do that very thing. Kubernetes is probably just using it under the hood. You know? Yeah. I can't tell you how much that blows me away. I know that sounds like I don't. Yeah. Kubernetes config maps being able to mount volumes that are individual files, which is the first place I've seen this done. Apparently that's been able to be all along. Recursive shared paths. Yeah, but I don't want to do that. Yeah. For covering installing a new system or even emulation QEMU user, yeah. Fixed grub entries. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't use those. We'll show you which mounts are files. So, the mount command shows something that might confuse someone who does not understand bind mounts, because this is it right here. Check it. So mount, wait. Of bind mounting SC password. First I had to create a file at the target. Make file. Wait. Touch mnt my password. Then give the dash bind option or -o bind. That's important because that's that option would work in an FS tab. And people who know mount already, I do know that. So bind option equivalent, then give the dash bind option equivalent to the mount command. So let's do mount dash bind is the password too. That shows something really fun here. Yeah. This looks like it mounts the entire dev. Okay, wait. The SDA2 is actually created just for that single file mount. Static variables and programming languages, yeah. We'll shadow the original file, yeah. Well, you do have to create it. It says the file doesn't exist. We just did that, right? All right, let's you mount it and see. I think I tried to do what you're telling me. I think I did, and it wouldn't do it. It said it had to exist. Yeah, you have to have a mount point. So you have to, and it has to be a file, which is so weird when talking about mount. It just blows my mind still. And not a directory. And now we bounded it, and now LSBLK shows it as an SDA device. It shows it as a SCSI device, which it obviously isn't. Right? So that's so confusing. This gets even more confusing when listing block devices with LSBLK. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I know this is not part of my job today, but I'll make it up. Don't worry. Don't worry. The SDA2 is actually created just for that single file mount. Even though it has identical size, it has a different device minor major number. It's like an actual device on the machine. That's what I'm trying to say. This, when you do a bind mount, you create a virtual device. Unlike, just like USB mounting or something. You create a virtual device that is a single file. No, it's not. The limitation / proc mounts format, you get more info from / proc self mount info. Let's try that. / proc / self. Yeah. Grab password from proc self mount info. All right, so Look at the next line and mount. It shows slash. Shared VFAT. That's important. Shared. These are all the snaps are all shared too. Interesting. I don't know. VFATs are shared too, so I don't know. Hi, Spicky. Yeah. I was just looking at that. Yeah, LSBLK. Yeah, so here's all the snaps, that's why I hate snaps. Those are all loopback types. These are partitions. So that's a disk partition. It's not a disk partition, though. I mean, my brain is like, which should I overlook? I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. Block device with a where this shows up as a partition type. The major minor number is in slash proc self mount info as well. Yeah. And then we have the find mount command too, right? Which is yet another one. Boot EFY. That is the only place it shows it, which I find interesting. God damn it. All right, so time for a break. Damn, we like burned right through an hour here. This is extremely valuable information to me, so I do not regret it for 1 second. But yeah. So slash dev SDA2 is mounted to slash. You bind mount etc password, which is part of slash file system, to. Oh. Okay, so what you're saying is that when you bind mount, you basically slice out a piece of another file system, which is the definition, whether it's a directory or a file, and then only that piece and everything under it is included, but the root of the file system is still a thing, right? Okay, that makes sense. That makes much more sense. That makes way much more sense. So So bind mounting is like filtering out specific directories or files from a base existing file system and only making them available. Sort of like it's like, yeah. It's kind of a filter. Container shows up as tempfs. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So they created a tempfs and they made a tempfs and then just wrote a file to it, right? Or from a base existing file system and only making it available as a mountable file system itself. So I think that I like findMT. I've never used it. I've never used findMT before. Never used it. I don't imagine that's a POSIX command, is it? Is findMT POSIX? I doubt it. It's not on AIX. I doubt it. That's a Linux thing. Yeah, it's a Linux thing. findMT is a Linux thing. That's why I don't know about it. Yeah, the thing that's important about this is that this does see a bind mount was a file. It's literally the only way to see, other than looking at the file and seeing that it's mounted and like etsy host, for example. So like if I were to do, let's do that actually. Let's do grep hosts. Actually, no. Let's get off of here for a second, and let's get back into our host. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do find mnt grep hosts, and there we see it. We see that it is a specific file. Under containers, overlay containers is the check the MD sum, and then the unique identifier, and then the user data hosts. We see that, so by using findMT, we see that the Etsy host file is in fact not there. It is mounted from this location, and if you change that, it will stay, but that's ephemeral. That's not going to stick around. Actually, I think if I were to change, you know what? I'm going to test this. I think containers isn't containers overlays. Yeah, I think containers overlays is mounted on top of it. I think that's the whole containerization part of it. They have no dev option, which is a hint at the device is virtual. They have the no dev. Oh yeah, no dev. Interesting. Yeah. Yep. I mean, all of that came about because I was changing my host file and it kept getting overridden every time I restarted my container. Not reran my container, reattached, I should say. Restarted as stopped container, not rerun a container. Rerun it, create a new container by running an image, which is not the same as starting, right? This I keep saying it over and over again because the beginners that are coming to containers, that's a really important concept to get. Containers are instances, running instances that could have been stopped or started of an image, period. Right? And an image is a container image, and that's a different thing. People interchange the word container and image all the time, and it's not the same. It's really important people coming new to containers get this. So I'm just saying that for those few that know about that, don't know about that. They haven't known about it. Okay, I'm going to actually take a break. I blew right past the thing there. Hopefully that was useful information. Let me go ahead and commit that before I abandon this, so that I have it. God, I hope I haven't screwed up yet. Where is it? Please tell me I didn't screw it up. Oh, there we go. Oh, damn it. Did I not save it? Oh my God. I don't think I saved it. I don't think I saved it. Fuck, it's still there. Yeah, I don't think I saved it. I think I killed it. Well, I'll rewrite it. I was going too fast. Yeah, I don't think I saved it. God damn it. All that time wasted, but I learned it. Oh well. I'm mad. Many temp file FSR reset when starting. Oh no, it's there. Yeah, there it is. Whew, good. I actually closed it. That's why it was still there. All right, so that actually got saved and pushed and everything. Okay, good. I feel better. I was kind of pissed. In fact, I'm going to exit out of the whole thing again and just restart and then try to regroup with the task we were doing at hand. This is, a thing. So bind mouse are glorified. Symlinks, okay, that's the most recent one. Many temp fs files are reset. We'll start to say Z2182. Update. Turns out this is because Etsy hosts is a bind mount, which I created another Z about. I don't know why I didn't save. It's making me mad, but whatever. Oh, what the hell is my Z not detecting change? I don't know. Let me go look at Z if it's there, and then they'll be able to let this be. It hasn't yet. Oops. Some reason Armageddon didn't detect the changes, so I don't want to leave without that being saved. Sue me. Okay, Cloak, let's get back to where we were. Phew. All right, so that was quite the. This hasn't been rendered yet. I just want to make sure this gets rendered, and then we'll do it. So, time to take a break. Here's some music for my Twitch friends. YouTubers, I can't put it on there because it keeps demonetizing me, so you have to come to our Twitch stream and hear the music. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, well, YouTube, we're back. Back from our break. And our little hour and a half long side quest to figure out what bind mounts are. And I now feel like I understand them. They're not relevant to what I'm doing, but it explains why my Etsy host file was going away every time I reattached. So I feel good knowing that. By the way, if you want to actually get away from that, you want your SSH completions to work. You can just add a config file if you want to. You can just add a host config file, and you could make it in here instead, and that will work for SSH file completion and stuff. You could make this. I mean, these two are the same, which is kind of weird, but DuxGG. Actually, no, I think I can't remember which one's which. I might have them backwards. Do I have them backwards? 168. Actually, it should be fine. You know what? XGG. Sudo. Yeah, it's a host. That's going to go away after the reboot, so I'm just removing it. And now I should be able to do hosts internal. Oh, that's weird. Say home tab, right? And the reason it works is because SEO is not there. But my .ssh config, a little bit more to write, but if you're into that much tab savings, you just don't want to type it all the time. You can definitely put it there. If you don't have it there, it's not going to do the completion for you at all. And if you're like me and you want to do the completion all the time, so let me just prove that that works. So let's do exit. So I'll exit again. So now we're restarting we're going to reattach to the workspace. Etsy host has been overwritten because it was a tempfs, but I should still be able to do home tab completion or not. What did I do? Did I break it? Maybe not. Maybe I was full of shit. I thought oh my god. Do I have it backwards? I think I might have it backwards. God damn it. Host name. So it is, I had it right. Why isn't it completing it? I could have swore. I don't know. I guess I'm remembering wrong. What is this new today? I should just quit while I'm ahead. Yep. You don't get file completion on any hosts and why don't you? You probably should. You get it in the host file if it's in there. Complete-psh. Complete as known hosts. SSH install keys. Complete SSH service. I find there's no completion registry for SSH. The default completer can be seen here. There's no completion defined for command. Does SSH? I know SSH has a completer because we were doing it for the host key. In this case, this is terminals where I was doing a poking around and it loaded SSH completer around, so I was using C complete. Grab SSH, yes. SSH key is completed. SSH known hosts. What? Why is it working now? Why is it working now? Wait. Oh, you know why? I had to reload the bash recipe. Yeah. That's so weird. Let me try it again. No, what? This means that my bash recipe is not loading when I log in for some reason. Anyway, that's interesting. That's very interesting. That is interesting. I wonder if it's because the host file wasn't there as a tempfs thing. Reloading bash recipe does it. It's very odd. I don't know what it is. I don't care. Okay, we're done now. CLab, CD into home, CD into Kate's keycloak. And then we're going to we'll call this readme. Actually, let's call this lab. We've done all this stuff. We're going to go back to doing our development. So we're going to SSH now. It's just funny. Okay, so the reason after I run tmux that it works is because tmux is running a new bash RC. For some reason, the initial shell that runs is not running the bash profile process in order to get completions. Yeah. That's why when I run tmux, I get the completions and I don't get them outside of tmux. Very interesting. Yes. So we're going to go to HPZ 640. Here we are. And we're going to, from here, we're going to do our development. So I think we have stuff running here, actually. Yeah, we got our key cloak and we have our Skilltech latest for klogin, which is still working. Blah, blah, blah. I don't have a tmux over here, but I could go ahead and pop that one up. Let's do, is that one stopped? No, it's running. Yeah, that's still running. So, podman attach klogin. Oh, wait. God damn it. Do you need an IT for this? I guess you do. I guess not. All right, fine. Podman start sachet klogin. There we go. All right, lots of stuff. Yeah, we got all the auth set up yesterday. So now we're doing the Go programming part of it. We got the get token curl script works. Let's just make sure everything's set up still. RBX raw password. I should still have the key cloak running. And there we go. That's my thing. That's my jot. Got my jot. So this is all working. We just have to get it to work and go now. So we got our root CA running. We added the cert to the thing. We actually, in our curl code, is actually intelligent enough to try 2 fetches. If the first fetch without the CA explicitly defined works, it will continue. If it doesn't, because it's not been loaded into the keyring on the machine, the CA in etsy, what is it, etsy OpenSSH/CA or something. If it's not there, then it'll keep trying it again. Till it gets an authenticated version. It's checking the curl return for us. We need to do that type of logic. That type of logic needs to be done in the Go code. And the Go code that we're going to be writing is here. I've been dumping it all into a single one. I know we got constants here. I don't care. I could embed them if you want, but for right now we're just going to do this. We're going to put the CA as a PEM just cause, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of PEM conversion we can do there. It's just good to have that here because we can cut and paste that in if we want to. So we have the client ID, we have the issuer URL, we have the key set URL, which is needed for validation. And we're going to try to use the oidc from CoreOS, which is now Red Hat. And we went through all of that. Yesterday. And this is the code for that. Yep, see ya. And so then we're going to be so we have everything we need. We went through an evaluation of the oidc package yesterday, so I can get my head around what was going on. And that was when I found out that the provider JSON struct is unmarshaled, I should say. Marshaled? Unmarshaled. During the new provider call, which actually hits the .wellformed discovery URL, which is that I was wondering why it only wanted the beginning of the HTTPS, the URL. In our case, home rdbxrob.gg:844.3/realms/K8s. And that would be supplemented and then that would be added on. Here we go, right here, see? And the issuer URL. And then what it would do is the new provider actually does a fetch of the well-formed and populates all the other fields, which we just to recuperate from what we did before is all here. I mean, let's just go ahead and sign in again. Here we go. So this is the well-known open configuration. This stuff, all the pertinent information from this, including the URLs for the token endpoint, which is right here, which has been hard-coded in a previous version of the klogin tool that I've written, is now no longer going to be hard-coded because it will be derived from the new provider call. So that we were able to find out. I did not know. That's one of the biggest values of using the Go oidc, which I think is big enough reason to use it, period. Not to mention the fact that it does use context management, stuff like that, so you can use it as proper middleware, and if you're waiting around for tokens and Keycloak's not answering, you can actually safely exit out of that because you're using context. That's another big reason to use this library package. We still have not figured out how to submit the initial grant, and I think we're going to have to dig it out of an OAuth 2 query, which I don't want to do, but we're going to have to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is get a provider. We can't do anything without the provider. So let's populate the provider in our code first. Let's just stick with one thing at a time. So we have a client context for oidc, get context background. We're not going to need key set or a verifier, but we do need a new provider. So oidc dot new provider, right? And we're going to give it a CTX as we can, and then we're going to give it the URL. Now this is the hard-coded URL. So issuer URL. I think we already have that. Yep. So there it is. Actually, no. What do we call that? What do they call it? Well, let's go check. What do they call it? They have a name for it. Let's go look at the docs. So we're using the Shift-K command, which is supported by any VI program. This is not doesn't require an extra plugin. This is just built into VI or Vim. And new provider. So we need the context. We need the issuer. And yeah, I am hesitating because up until now, the issuer URL I can curl when we do that actually has to have the protocol token thing, right? So that is not true any longer. So I don't even think we're going to need that key set thing, but we're going to keep it there for now. And let's see if we can get that code to compile. We could actually probably just dump the provider, which probably has unmarshalling, so it should print out pretty nicely. Let's see though. Let's see what it does. Mismatch returns two values. Oh, whoopsie. Provider and error. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. There we go. Password nil. Okay, so we got an error. Realms Kate's well-known open configurator TLS failed to verify certificate. X509 certificate signed by unknown authority. This is exactly why I was trying to do this. So I know how to fix this. I know how to, because this is not using the one that's embedded. So okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. Okay. This is exactly in the core of what I wanted to accomplish. So I'm going to fix this by putting the root CA or custom root CA, the one I've temporarily made, into the proper place, right? Which is, and then we're going to do update CA cert or whatever. And I probably have all that stuff up here. Yep. I probably have a copy here someplace. Yep, there we go. So we're going to copy our root CA. And then we're going to do CA, update the CA certs. And that, if we did this right, that last call we just made should work because it should see the root CA now. Cross our fingers. Password. We got it. Yes. Okay. So that's the first test knocked out. The first test we know is that if you update the root CA on the system, it's going to work, right? But now what we need to do is delete that. We need to delete that and break it again so that we can pass the embedded cert as a substitute, which is emulated in our curl program. So let's do that. So let's do rm user local share CA certs certificates. Oops. There. Yeah, I want to remove that. And then I want to update CA certs again to get it out of there. And then we should get an error now, right? Now we should get an error. Oh, we didn't. It's still getting the right cert. Does that mean that the Go program cached it? Fuck. That means that there's a cert in there that we don't want in there anymore. Crap. How do I get rid of it? How do I get rid of it? Or did Go cache it? I mean, I could make the name wrong. It's still getting it, even though the cert's not there anymore. Why is it still getting it? Wait. Yeah. Maybe I put it in the wrong place. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I put it in the wrong place. I put it in user something and user local share CA certs is where I supposed to. I think I had it in user share. Yeah. I had it in both places. I think it actually copies it to the other place. So okay, we got it. I got it. It was yeah, let me go back and see what I did here. So I copied it. No, I copied it and then I did an update. That's very interesting. I wonder if a golang cached it or something. Or I didn't delete didn't take or something. I think I might have tried to remove a file that didn't exist. I think that's what I did. No? No, I removed the right one. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I did it wrong. I don't know. It didn't work, but it's working now. So I don't want to waste time. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to add this root cert to the query, and I have no idea how to do that. I honestly have no idea how to do that. It would have something to do with the provider. We might have to add it to the built-in HTTP client. I think that's what we have to probably do. When you do a new provider by default, it uses the built-in, yeah, there it is, client equals new HTTP client. We're not even using that client. In fact, why isn't that barking at me? Oh, wait. We use this HTTP client for the background context, which the client probably got mined out of the new provider, and so it used that. So that means we can update this client with the root CA cert. Assuming that that's something you can do with the client. I expect it is. I haven't updated root CAs and added certs to a single client request for HTTP with the default client before. This is new to me. So jar do get head post form. There's got to be a thing to do. I don't want to have to populate the crypto cache in Go, which I think I might have to do. It would be really unfortunate if we have to do that, because it would be per operating system, and that would be lame. I'm going to do a search for this, because I don't think I'm going to find this without. This is kind of an edge case. So, adding a root CA to a Golang HTTP client. Where is Golang picking up root CAs from? Let's read this one first. If root CA is nil, crypto TLS config.rootcas. Root CAs defines a set of root certificate authorities that clients use in verifying the server certificates. If root CAs is nil, TLS uses the host root CA set. Oh, well, there you go. And it looks like it's a global. Crypto TLS config root CAs. All right, let's print that out just for fun. God damn, this is great. I'm so glad we're doing this, because that stuff is used under the hood for everything. So let's do it. FMT. What was it? Crypto TLS config root CAs. TLS config root CAs. Yeah. Damn it. There's no method root CAs. Is that a... Okay, I mean, okay, let me try something else. Go doc crypto. They moved it. This is an old answer in Stack Exchange. What else is new? Is it X crypto? They moved it. Yep. Damn it. This answer is wrong. I wasted my time with that. X509. Aha, they moved it to 509. Well, that's good to know. So it's in 509. There it is. Package trees target at 509. Technical pro IETF. On Mac, Windows certificate validation is held by the system APIs, but the package aims to apply consistent validation. Yes, please. Please give us our block. Maybe it doesn't, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm guessing it's not here, actually. Signature algorithm. Certificate request. What else we got? Cert pool. What's that? System cert pool and cert pool. Oh, you found something? Nice. Thank you. This is why I do this on the stream. People help me do my job. So, some cert payment coded file, key file, save file, yeah. We don't need the cert. Load TLS load X509 pair. Key file. Why does it need the key to do the signing? Yep. Refile. That's a good find. I'm gonna add it to my lab notes. Creating a root CA TLS Go HTTP client request and Go. All right, so That's for clientele. Yeah. Yeah, that would only be if you had an incoming client, right? If we wanted to make our own cert server. Yeah. IO util is deprecated, don't use it. X509 new cert pool. Okay, so that's exactly what we were looking at. So append search from PEM. There we go. That is totally new, which means that the let's see. So step one is okay. So we'll use the system TLS certs if there is no TLS pool, which we were looking at earlier. Cert pool added. All right, so TLS, etc. Yeah, everybody tells us that. Hey, Brains Up, how are you? Yep. So yet another person suggesting I use Cloudflare's SSL tool. Yeah, I was gonna go look at this. Is just we need a new cert pool, append certs from PEM, CA cert pool, certs from PEM. The PEM is the CA cert, which is this, which is just a string, which has been passed in. We don't need that. We're just gonna make it a string, so that's fine. Embedded constant. TLS config, HTTPS client is actually, TLS has got a config now. Nice. Certificates equals TLS certificate cert. Build name to certificate, TLS config, transport, HTTP transport. Shit. Oh, you can pass the client off to the transport? Oh, fantastic. Okay, that's what we need right there then. Yep. All right, that's it. Yep, that's it. That right there is an idiom that needs to be memorized. I'm going to make a thing about that. Yeah, it's also the Stack Exchange is the first answer on Stack Exchange is dead wrong and dated. What else is new, right? So CA cert pool, con CA cert equals something. Except HTTPS client TLS. Yep. I think we got it. This is very helpful. Thank you very much. Well, yeah. We still need this. Oh, no. We just need the root thing. You're right. That would be if we were adding other client certs, yeah? We're not doing client certs, so yeah. Been from PEM is a thing. This needs to be there. Build name to certificates. No, we don't need that. Transport. We could probably get away with this. We could probably just instantiate this. I could probably shortcut this. Yeah. I mean, it's easier to read like this, but we could just do this. So transport equals defer client close. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not going to do that right away. Yes, we definitely need to do that. Just not yet. So, Transport TLS client config, TLS config CA cert pool. And from certs. Okay, so that is it. That is all we need. Yeah. And where's our HTTP thing? We're going to have to do that before we instantiate the client. It looks like there was a TLS thing at one point. That does not seem to be supported anymore. So this goes away. CA cert pool equals new blah. I mean, hell, I could run all of this from an init. Sue me. I can initialize the default HTTP client and for the entire thing in init, and then everybody gets to use the same client. But that I should probably put that in main instead. Yeah. I mean, to do the right thing, let's do that. Let's say we could call init client or something like that. Did I say? I said hell. No. We're just doing a basic key cloak token request with TLS termination so we can validate it. So, yeah, I think we need a function here. We need to have a function called init HTTP client. And then we need a var. We could, you know what we could do? We could actually overdo. We could take over the built-in HTTP. That's probably not a good idea. Wait, I mean, we could overtake the built-in one. You know what I'm talking about? There's like a built-in client. Yeah, it's a convenience. There's already a built-in client. Yes. Default client. I think I can take over the default client though. Yeah, you can. It's a var. Default client is the default client and is used by get, head, and post. Yes. I don't know if this is an anti-pattern, but I'm going to do it anyway. You know what? I don't even think it would work because I think, let me think about this. It really depends on if all the stuff that uses the default client has done stuff at init time and has already used the default client. Well, no, the default client is a var definition time. So yeah, that's ahead of init time. Basically, if there's other stuff in the standard library that uses the default client and I override the default client, the stuff in init, the stuff that ran during init would already have links to the default client before it's the changes I make to it at that pointer. And that's probably not. That's why you probably should not do anything with init. But there's no way of knowing what's using the default HTTP client. You know, it's meant as a convenience, by the way, right? So default client is the default client is used by get, head, and post. I have to set up my own HTTP client anyway because I have to set the transport with the TLS stuff. So what I'm trying to decide is if I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking ahead about how I could make it easier for everything that's in the library to use it, right? Like I think that you could put, God, you could even put this in an init time sort of thing. Yeah, oh my God, my mind is blown. And if we put it in init, then what's guaranteed to be first. So yeah, I actually just made an argument for putting it into init. So if we do an init and then we do, what we're going to do is we're going to replace the default HTTP client in the entire the rest of the memory space for this runtime, which means that all the head requests and everything that use this, the reason this is interesting is if I put this in a reusable package for work or whatever, that it will automatically have the intelligence to detect the system TLS for the root CA, and if it doesn't have it in there, it'll do a little bit of pre-checking to see if that TLS is there, and if it's not there, it'll add it, right? Because the HTTPS transport client config by default, assuming the old information transfers forward, means that by default the default HTTP client uses the system TLS certs, which we just proved by trying it without having them in place and then adding it and having it work. What we need to do is we need to make a generic default HTTP default client that can be used for everything else. A certain binary though. Oh, hell yeah. I'm definitely hard coding it. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Look, I am simulating an enterprise environment library that is going to be hard coded. So if there's any change to the root CA, there's no way to pull the root CA cert. There's no way to pull it. Or is there? Well, actually, it wouldn't work. I would have to have. I can't even talk to the internal network without it. Yeah, it's going to be public accessible over an HTTP request, which is also going to be, it's a chicken and the egg problem. You see what I'm saying? So let me explain. So if we're running in an enterprise where every single thing in the entire enterprise, all the laptops, all of the systems have a custom root CA, not just a root CA, but intermediate CAs for everything that happens within the company. And this stuff has all been made aware, has been built into the configuration of every laptop, 20,000 people all over the entire enterprise, right? So that stuff has all been built into all of those systems. And which, by the way, is the primary reason I shouldn't have to do this. But here's the problem, okay? So Joe Schmo decides that they want to fire up a VM and they want to be able to talk to klogin and kubectl, right? Now they can't because they just fired up a container that does no idea about the root CAs of the enterprise, and they just want to authenticate to it, right? Now maybe they're running it from their laptops on Mac, which I've already got the root CA put in their key store and it's going to work. You see what I'm saying? So there. And in that case, I can't use. Look, if I'm using a case where the root CA is not known, I can't go get it using an HTTP client because I need the root CA to get the root CA. You see what I'm saying? So let's say you have a virtual machine that you fired up in your environment, right? You'd have to tell your developer, oh, go get a copy of the root CA at the official source, or go copy it from your wherever you can find it on your laptop, and put that into your whatever it is that you want to authenticate against Kubernetes, right? So as a convenience, by embedding, I mean, we redistribute these binaries all the time, so we're going to be hard coding client IDs and stuff in here too. So as a convenience, putting the root CA in here so that if the root CA is not detected on the system, it will use the last hard-coded root CA inside of here to attempt to make a connection. Then what we can do is a couple of things. First of all, the most important one is we can actually authenticate against the key cloak, right? But the other piece of this is that if I need to get a new root CA, I could detect that, right? If that was available, I could actually go get it because it's very likely that the other root CA, there's been at least some overlap between the two. So this is, so again, this is not, I'm making a tool that everybody on the internet's going to use. I'm making a tool that's specific to our enterprise where we control the back end and the front end. And that's why we can get away with grant type equals password as well. We're using those things. So can't access anything in the enterprise. They can. They could, well, they could do stuff with Git, actually. Yeah. I mean, I wonder how that would happen. It does make me wonder, because in our particular case, if I fire up a container on my laptop, I can still do curl requests to HTTPS internally without any certs. Why? Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, though. I mean, I have enough information to talk with my coworker about where we want to go with this. Yep. I'm guessing they're signed by public CAs, yeah. I'm guessing, yeah. I'm guessing that our root CAs, our intermediate root CAs, or something, and I don't know that. So actually, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go talk to my coworker about. I have to get a copy of our root CAs and see if they are signed by a public CA, so we can make this decision here about deciding about whether or not to embed the cert. And I'm going to put some music on so you can listen to that while I'm gone. Here we are, back from another break. Checked in with my team, and we've decided that we're not going to do any root CI cert validation. We're going to force debugging the laptops or workstations that do not have the root CAs in the proper root chain, as opposed to making up for this particular command, because the kubectl command would then fail anyway. So, but for the sake of curiosity, I am going to go ahead and finish this lab and add my root CA, hard code my root CA into the application, which I now think is a bad idea in an enterprise environment, because there's no circumstance where you would want a client-based root CA authentication to happen without kubectl and all those other things, as I said. So let's go ahead and see if this actually works. And I don't think we're going to need to do anything in the init chain. We were going to put the certs in the init chain, and I'm no longer going to do that. We were going to do that to kind of factor out that part of it, but I don't believe we need to do that anymore. So we don't need HTTP. We can keep this client. We can replace that. And line 46. What am I missing here? We got a new cert pool. What am I missing? Silly me. Got a var left up there. Okay. All right. So this should actually compile and run and use the proper cert. Assuming the CA cert can be parsed from the PEM file. Oh, no, there we go. Append certs from PEM. Okay, so we got that. So this should work. And let's go ahead. I mean, we're going to write a conditional there for a second, right? So that was the whole point. Go run main.go and type constant. Okay. Did I kill the... What? It shouldn't need it. Can I use CA constant var as type string? Oh, it wants a byte type? Okie doke. I can do that. Yeah, it wants to, you know what, let's just do the cast down here. Yeah, we can just cast that. Okay. Yep, there we go. It worked. All right, so that is the end of that. Now, the truth is, we don't want to have to do that unless our initial query didn't work with the client. So I'm actually going to do two different things here. We're going to do fetch token. This is going to be the exact equivalent to the shell script I wrote using curl. Fetch token with TLS, with CA, own CA. And we know that works already. So let's make another one. Let's do another one. Let's say fetch token token error. If there's an error, let's go ahead and attempt to, let's do this. Well, number of ways we could do this. I'm just trying to figure out the best one. So let's go ahead and try it again here. Let's say we'll have kind of a token error. The scope is similar, so we can compare. Okay, so fetch token own CA. So we'll do a fetch token and then a fetch token own CA, and then let's change the other one. Same exact information, and then we have another if statement here. So if error is not equal nil, then like finally like truly fail, right? So let's actually copy this and have both methods. And then I'm probably not gonna, this is enough of a lab experimentation with this for me to fix the problem I have at work. And then I'll be done for the day. And so anything else we do today will be just fun stuff. I know you might not think this is fun. It's so fun. Okay, so this is the one that's just gonna use the keychain, which we know should fail because we moved the key out of the way and broke things, right? We don't need to do a key set or a verifier. That was just for validating keys, which we don't need to do. We also have not done, we haven't successfully got the actual token itself, and we will still do that. Don't get me wrong. We are still going to do that, but the immediate task that I need to do for work with TLS validation is almost complete. So if we get this out here, we don't need any of that verifier crap. We don't need the key signer crap either, the key set. And so let's try this code. So this should run 73. Let's see. Token's already been defined, so that's having trouble, isn't it? We'll just do this instead. There we go. TLS failed to verify certificate, none by signing authority. All right, so yep. So the TLS failed. I mean, did it even make it in here? Wait, where's my... Do I not have my... Oh, I don't. Damn. I don't have my Vim keys in here. Damn it. All right, it's yet another thing that's not in my base image. It's another, I have a macro that's not in my base image, making me angry. Yeah, because we started this before we got all the MRC stuff. Whatever. I think our new one does have it. I'm sorry, I have to check something. You can hate me. Okay, so Punman start. No, run it. All right, it's there. Good. Thank God. I feel so much better. Okay, so it is in the standard image. Nice. All right, good. I added that already. It was a Go configuration that was missing from the standard image, and I fixed it yesterday, and I just confirmed that I did. Our Pomo timer was like flashing at me because we're supposed to take a break, but I took that big break already, so we're gonna blow right through it. If you have a question of any particular import, please let me know, and I'll try my best to answer that for you. Expect Spike, hey OMG, thank you for that input. I am now seeing. Been a while since I've drank Chardonnay before. Drinking on the job. That's what I'm doing. Sue me. Makes me a better coder. Not even kidding. Balmer Peak, look it up. Fetch token is working. Normally I would do this. I would do fmt print made. I have a macro that does that. I'm baffled as to why this isn't working. What else is new? It didn't get there. So something's wrong with my if statement right here. If error does not equal nil. Oh, if made. It's not getting into that thing. I don't understand. Where is it printing that from? Fetch token's failing. Oh, thank you. And it's not getting there. Yeah, but it should at least be. Oh, it's printing the error. I see. Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying. So we're actually not fetching a token at all. No, we're not, right? Actually, let's do this. That's really what we need. Sorry, everybody, for the missing that. We need two different new providers. We need a new provider with TLS and one with its own CA, right? Because, all right, let's do that. And then, yeah, but the thing that's cool about that is we can return a provider after that, which is what we need. And then we don't need the token. We still need the token thing, but it'll be it'll call this stuff. All right, so that'll give us a provider. Actually, no, that'll give us one of a oidc provider. What is this? What is this magic? What is this magic? This old magic. oidc provider, okay. Thank you, Krishna. Just thank you. You saved me some time there. So, provider. Error and provider. Hell, we can just do this now. We still need to do this stuff, but just not here. Key sets can die. This can die. This can die. This can die. All right, so there's our provider. And down here, we can do this instead. Much simpler code, eh? Makes me happy. Hell, we can even do this. I could type. Damn, look at that. So, yeah. Yep. Okay, fine. C dot provider. Who's the pointer, not the actual. Ho! Damn. Looks like it worked. All right, now we just need to print something useful. Yes, sir. Actually, we're not returning provider, we're returning provider. Yeah. And then we're gonna print that provider. I mean, what the hell? We don't have tokens anymore. God damn it. Ba 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 ba. Ho 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 ho! That looks good to me. All those little numbers mean there's some binary cert in there somewhere, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so now we just need to get the token. I kind of feel like I want to commit that, though. There's just a lot of in there to get over to the other system. I need to put that all in the lab. And, yes, slight bit of happiness there. Note that information came from the root CA that was loaded. So let's just confirm. Let's do a little bit of. Actually, it probably print made in here somewhere. Let's go look out the output. Yep, there it is. Username, password. Go command line. Can't do oidc provider. Okay, that was a fail. There we go. It print made right there. Okay, so that means that worked. And then we did a working thing again. And this time it print made, but this time it fed us back the provider. Look at that. That's got to be the realm URL. I don't care. That's just, it's really too bad that they don't marshal it to JSON or something instead. That would have been better, but. Hey, Reiki. All this binary stuff is the cert. So next step. The next step is to get a token. We have populated our new provider by doing discovery against .wellknown. In case that data looks familiar to you, that's because this is where it comes from right here. So new provider from the CoreOS go-oidc package, the new provider, a function, oidc.newProvider, queries automatically based on this URL right there, the .wellknown OpenID configuration, which is part of the oidc standard, and it grabs all this data and it dumps it, at least the relevant parts of it, into an oidc.provider struct. And that struct is then pre-populated and ready for business. What business, you may ask? The business of giving me a grant type equals password token, otherwise known officially as, and I have to remind myself what the actual name for this is, because I always say it wrong. Where is it? I don't remember it. What's the official name, friends? What the hell is that? Is my site down? Oh, no. It's still there, right? Okay, good. What is the official name? What is the official? There it is. Resource owner password grant. Say that twice with me. Say that 5 times. Resource owner password grant. Resource owner password grant. Mr. Rob, why are we saying that? It's deprecated. I don't want to memorize that. Because I have control of the back end and the front end, as it says here. As it says here, if you have front end and back end come from the same company, front end and back end. Otherwise, PAM authentication against multi-user Unix, LDAP backends, etc. There's still very valid reason for this. The fact that it's deprecated just means that the OAuth team is full of shit. I understand why they did it, and I sympathize with them. They don't want services like Google or somebody to enable it, because if they were to turn it on, then all of these application developers would be harvesting passwords from everybody, which is also bad. Ever wonder why the curl applications doesn't harvest passwords? Think about the curl application, how many passwords it could harvest. It could, right? Good thing we trust it. All right, we need the token now. We need to get the token. So after this, we need to get the token. Where's my to-do? Let's put it right here. I think we're going to get TLS validation for free, thank God. So this is very, very good news. I just don't know how. We need to submit an OAuth grant type equals password request using the provider that we were given. And I don't know how to do that. So we're going to figure that out next. All right. So the problem is that all the examples that are out there are... Let's start with the OIDC documentation, shall we? Let's start with the package documentation, which I have already in right here. So this is the actual package itself. We're probably looking for methods on the provider. I'm guessing. Anybody know? Go doc dot. What we got here? What's actually here? Let's go see that. Man, it takes a long time. Can I have more Chardonnay? Am I allowed? That was really good. It was nice and refreshing. I don't know why that's taking so long. I'm getting really tempted to go get more drink. Because it's taking so long. My code's compiling. I'm getting more wine. You think I'm kidding? All right, what were we doing? We were YouTube. We were back now. So we are refilled on Chardonnay, and we have data. We have documentation, which I think it probably had to compile. Why did it take so long? I'm worried. Let's learn everything we can about the CoreOS Go-OIDC package, shall we? Version 3. Package OIDC implements OID. I mean, everybody should know this thing. If you do any development of any kind in Go, you need to know about OIDC. So let's do this. Package OIDC implements OpenID Connect. I always say, you know what's funny is that Kubernetes actually says that one of the authentication strategies that it uses is OIDC Connect. You see why that's wrong, right? That's like how some network admins wrongly used to say NIC card is repetitive. It's actually not. The C stands for controller, not card. Network interface controller card, NIC card, not network interface card. So don't give me shit. I have had network engineers give me shit by saying NIC card. Same sort of thing. OpenID Connect, OIDC Connect is repetitive because OIDC, the C stands for connect. Don't say that. You sound dumb. Even if you write documentation for Kubernetes, which is on their main website. Package OIDC implements OIDC Connect client logic for the Golang OAuth 2 package. Constant RS256 equals RS256. Scope OpenID equals OpenID. I wonder what that is. It must be the default scopes for OpenID, I guess. That's got to be an OAuth thing. That's an OIDC specific thing. OIDC is an implementation of OAuth. It's sort of, right? From my understanding. Client context. Interesting. Wait a second. OIDC already has a client context set up? Are you telling me that I didn't need to make one? Wait just a second. Wait just a second. Wait a gall darn second. What you're telling me is I didn't need to do this. Oh, I did do it. Never mind. I take it all back. I thought I had my own client context created. No, I'm using their client context, which actually includes an embedded HTTP client, which has been populated with a transport that has its own TLS cert in own CA. All right. Next thing. Where are we? Insecure issuer URL context. It sounds like a horrible thing to use. I'm not using it. Nonce. Don't you love that word? What's a nonce? Somebody out there is saying, what's a nonce? What's a nonce? I'm saying it. I mean, I can't give you a straight definition. I know kind of what it is. A nonce is one particular present occasion, purpose, or use for something. It's like a one-time thingy, mabob. Does that mean that it's like a, what's the OOP thing, the object-oriented programming term? A singleton? The singleton is just one instance of a class that can be used multiple times. The nonce can only be used once. The one particular or present occasion, purpose of a nonce. Interesting. I wonder if the term announcement is related to nonce, like etymologically. That would be cool. The time being nonce two of two adjective occurring, used, or made only used for a special occasion. A nonce word. Did you know nonce first appeared in the Middle English as the noun spelled nonnes? Did not know that. The present and intermediate occasion or purpose usually used in the phrase for the nonce adjective of a word or phrase, coined and used only in a particular occasion. Nonce forms such as pantrix, meaning a female painter. Take the quiz to find out. In cryptocurrency, a nonce is an abbreviation. In the UK, it's a kitty fiddler. Interesting. I did not know that. See, I'm learning all kinds of stuff. In cryptocurrency, a nonce is an abbreviation for number only used once. Get it? Once. 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 A nonce. Oh my God, I never made that connection. It's a number only used once. Z create term nonce number n number once only used once. That's it. Wow, what a great thing. Why does my Git not work? My Zettles are not committing lately. I don't know what the hell. Where's my mind? Okay, so nonce config ID token, struct ID token verification, new verifier. Not doing any verification. Key set can bite me. Provider is all we need. Please tell me I don't have to call a provider. I really don't want to. Provider config struct remote key set, new remote key set. We don't need remote key sets, I'm telling you. Static key set, token expired, user info. Peter, how are you? Welcome. I'm going to cert plus Windows 10. Yes, that's what I'm using. I am using Terminal. And I'm using Podman Desktop, and that is all. I have VMware installed and did that last year. I don't do it anymore. It takes up too many resources. I just use Podman instead, which unfortunately requires WSL under the hood, which has been breaking my Windows machine. Broke it twice already. Fine. That's how we're doing the boost, by the way. In case you're wondering, that's what this is. So somebody's asking me about what systems I'm using right now. So I've moved all of my development over onto my server, which is in my lab. A little bit of a public service announcement. If you want to go to the lab, go !lab. You can go see all my lab breakdown, what machines I have and everything. And right now I'm on HPZ 640, which is a 58 core, I think it's 58, 256 RAM, gigabytes of RAM, system that I was going to run a bunch of virtual machines on. I'll probably still run Firecracker on micro VMs over here, but right now I have Podman on here. So it's kind of dual purpose. I'd use it for Podman as well as eventually Minikube at the current moment, and eventually also some micro VMs with Firecracker. Kind of all things, everything. By the way, if you want to make your own lab, save up your money and spend $1,500 on a kick-ass HP Z640 on Amazon for sale, refurbished, and then go to town. You want to put Proxmox on there? Fine. I hate it, though. Proxmox fell on his face because I tried to add all these other concurrent hosts to it and it can't take it. So don't do Proxmox. You don't need it. Just use libvirt. Just use Virt Manager and Kimu. You're good to go. You don't need Proxmox. Be better than that. So anyway, and learn Virsh, VIRSH. Yeah. All right. So where were we? We were reading about the CoreOS now consumed by Red Hat. Go-oidc package, which I need to know and understand and love. However, I don't see anything in the oidc package that has anything to do with the OAuth token requests, and I imagine that's because that is an OAuth thing and not an oidc thing. And that does concern me because, you know what? Let's look at the provider, shall we? Yeah, let's look at the provider class. Let's look at the oidc.provider and see what methods it has on it. Yes, it has methods. Go has methods, even though it's not AOP. You know what? You don't have to have classes for object-oriented programming. Oh my God, my mind was just blown. Anthem, how are you? Don't believe me? Ask any JavaScript programmer. Package oidc provides struct. Is HP a good watch compute-wise? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Malibu, I'll go show it to you if you go look at it. I actually found it. I cannot believe it. I was showing it to somebody the other day. It's a really, really good piece of hardware. So far, it's been really great to me. I mean, that thing has been up like forever. And I actually bought the rails for it to load it in my rack, but I have kind of a cheap sound rack versus one of the better racks. And so my $400 like rail set for the rack doesn't work. I can't return it because they got it for me, OEM, some random company in New York. Anyway. Yeah, I bought the cheap sound racks, in case you're wondering. They're like more than 50% less than the fancy ass, racks with the attachment thing. So, and they don't have a door or any of that stuff. If you want to see a really awesome rack, go look at like Chris Nova's rack. And that's not a euphemism, Chris, in case you're watching. Also has that nice. That's the wine talking. Okay, new provider, context issuer, provider claims, endpoint, user info, endpoint. So I assume this is what we want. We want to call an endpoint. Why do people use names for active action methods? I hate that. I hate it when they do that. Endpoint, sound noise constraints, right? I do have sound noise constraints. It's true. Yes. I also have heat constraints. I had to turn off my minis and stuff. Yeah, I had to turn these off, and that's because I was like frying in here. Not to mention the fact that I'm like biking on my bike, and it turns into a gym in here. We'll talk about this. Actually, I need to start doing the streams called Home Lab and It, which are not work related. They're not co-working streams. They're more about me like getting my infrastructure up and running, which I'm going to start doing more of now that, the health thing is kind of in line. I spend a lot of extra time doing that, but I kind of canceled my Home Lab and It so I could ride more and get skinny. I still have a long way to go. Maluba knows this. So, yeah. Anyway, so endpoint returns an OAuth, but that's what I was doing before that, and I have to be careful not to just drink and work on my home lab and not work out. Very dangerous combo. OAuth endpoint. OAuth returns an auth and token endpoints for the given provider. Wow, it returns both the auth and the token endpoints. Seriously? Well, let's try that. Where's my code? Come here, code. All right, so I mean, let me print this. Excuse me. All right, so provider. I don't know what this is going to do. I just want to try it. that's how life is. Sometimes just trying it and breaking something is the fastest way to learn. Do I need to state that again? Damn, look at that. There's the auth and there's the token endpoint. Damn. What can I do with the token endpoint? Can I do something else with it besides just query it? Because I kind of want to get it. You know what I'm saying? That's just the endpoint. Okay, we still need to look at the product. We're getting close, I swear to God. So that is the OAuth2 endpoint. I think since we're doing the oidc, now we have to switch into OAuth mode. We have to figure out how to make an OAuth request. This is no longer related to the oidc package. I have a feeling. ID token verifier, we don't need that. Verify context, don't need that. We don't need any of that. We don't even need the claims. We need to now call an OAuth thing. I think we now need to kind of change gears and start to look at the OAuth package itself, which, to be completely honest, I don't know much about, and I should know everything about it, but I know nothing. So we're gonna go look right now, assuming I can find it. Why is it not here? Why you no work OAuth2? I mean, obviously it's in my GoSum or GoMods. So which OAuth are we using? XOAuth2. Do I have to do XOAuth2? Probably. Go doc. The token is what I want to return, but I actually have to call it. You see what I'm saying? You can notice the token by making OAuth2 requests with query string parameters to OpenID equal to OpenID to indicate it's an OID token, oidc token. Yeah. So as I said, issue the token by calling the token endpoint. Exactly, but I don't know how to call the token endpoint. I know how to get it from the OID discovery, which we did with new provider, but now I have that, but I assume that I have to pass that to OAuth or no auth request, which I don't. I'm not using the OAuth request very much, so I have no idea what I'm doing. So go doc OAuth2. All right, so I'm gonna learn about JOTS and OAuth2. And so package OAuth2 provides support for making OAuth authorized and authenticated HTTP requests as specified by RFC 6749. Can additionally grant authorization using bearer JOTS, which I'm glad for that because that's what I have. HTTP client internal context key. Oh, it has its own HTTP client too. Interesting. I love how they bundle a client, an HTTP client with the context. That's kind of cool. I feel like that's a hack, but whatever. No context equals context that's to do. New client context. So the context we probably get to be the HTTP. Actually, for this, like, I bet you I can pass my OIDC context. I bet you I can. I bet you I can pass the same context. Maybe not. You remember the one that has TLS root CAs added to it? I bet you I can. I don't know. We'll try. What I'm wondering is if they've got fast track things that don't require me to instantiate the client and I can call direct. If they have like built-in default client stuff. And it looks like no. Type. Yes, I'm an OAuth noob in Go. I'm not an OAuth noob, but I'm an OAuth Go noob for sure. I've written many things that use it, but not with OIDC. Yeah, so token source. I assume that is the URL. I don't know that, so we shall find out. New client, token source, register broker auth provider. Wait. Register broken auth provider, header provider. We don't want that. Fuck that. Auth code option, no. Auth style in. Config. These are all types. Where are our major components? It sounds like we have to build a new client. Yep. It sounds like we're going to need to make an OAuth new client. Yep. We're going to make one and we're going to pass the context and we got to look what source token is. I don't know. So new client, I think we're going to need to get one. New client, we pass the context token source, whatever that is. A token source is an interface. Oh, reuse token source, static token source. So what do we have? HTTP client. New client creates HTTP client from context and token source. The return client is not valid beyond the lifetime of the context. That seems like a lot of stuff to do just to wrap up a string. I wish we could just do a straight up HTTP request. Because the HTTP client is combined with the context, it is used only for the token acquisition. It is not used to configure the HTTP client returned from new client. This is interesting. Okay, so that's exactly what oidc is going to do. Oidc has an HTTP client built into the context, and it says right there, hey, you oidc user, if you're using a custom HTTP client that has a context in the context, it will only be used to get the token and is not used to configure the HTTP client returned by a new client. In other words, you'll still need to do the TLS validation or add TLS enablement for the CA root key if you're doing that kind of thing to your HTTP client that's returned from here, which sucks because I would have to go into the HTTP client that's returned and mess with its transport in order to get TLS to work for the root CA. That is a pain in the ass. As a special case, if the SRC is nil, a non-OAuth client is returned using the provided a non-OAuth client. This exists to support related OAuth 2 packages. God damn, that's a clusterfuck. This package sucks. I'm just saying, I'm just going to call it. This package is horrible. It's like really bad. It's like really poorly designed. It's almost as bad as the JSON built-in reflection marshalling with the unnecessary escapes for dangerous angle brackets. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking shit about Go. Can you believe it? My day's going okay. Sort of. Somebody asked how my day's going. YouTube. I have no idea how to pass the oidc provider information into the OAuth query. I do not know. So I am going to punt and do some research. How do I use grant type? Grant type equals password with core OS / go oidc. Look into source code for scope equals OpenID. So, wait, so OAuth has a specific scope defined to handle OIDC requests? In case people don't know, OIDC is a specialization of OAuth in order to simplify shit that should have been simple in the first place. Am I wrong? That's why we're all choking on this. Yep. OIDC sits on top of OIDC of OAuth 2. You know what? We're going to go back to the code here. Actually, we're not looking at the OAuth code. We have to go look at the Go source code for the OAuth 2, which is an X thing, which we'd have to get. And we want to look at that source code. I'm going to have to go get all of the Go code, I think, because it's under X. OAuth2 Golang source code. I go to the source Luke. Use the source Luke. Golang OAuth 2. Well, that's not too bad. We can get that. I mean, Golang's fucking huge. Thank God for GH. I might run out of disk space. This is going to take forever. Just more time for me to drink wine. But clone. Fine. How many we got? 2,251. Damn, that was pretty fast. That went pretty fast. I am impressed. Okay, so let's check the example out first. Example configured. Your client ID, your secret, your scopes. Are you kidding me? That's all we need? Are you kidding me? Why was I overcomplicating it? Conf client CTX token get. Are you kidding me? It can't be that easy. Well, I'm glad I asked. Thank you, Ronnie. The perfect place to go look. I don't have a secret. I don't have a secret. I mean, I personally have many secrets, but you know what I'm saying. Nope, we don't need that. Main. Yep. Okay, so I mean, all we need from the provider endpoint is the token URL. Because that's the thing that turns into the grant type equals password. So let me just make sure I got this right. OAuth2 endpoint. All right. Endpoint equals blah. G-paren endpoint. We already know what this is, but I'm just going to check it anyway. God damn it. Is it returning an error too? Fine. It's gonna make me do this. Oh my god. What do you mean there's no endpoint? So the first one is the auth endpoint, and the other one is the token endpoint, which is used. It's an OIDC. It's an OAuth endpoint, but it's used to do grant type equals password for the return value using OAuth2, even though it's an OIDC thing. Piggybacking on OAuth. Beauty is a strong word. We're gonna do endpoint dot token. What is it? Token URL? It's an int? What the hell? It's not an int. It's not an int. Oh, it's your endpoint. I mean, it's okay. It's growing on me slightly because I'm understanding it. That's how things are, right? If you understand them, like, that's awesome. Otherwise, like, that's shit. We tend to like things that we understand. Especially if other people don't understand it because it makes us feel smarter than them. Oh, you don't know OAuth2? Let me explain it to you. Sigh. Okay, so provider endpoint. It's got to be a pointer. I don't understand why. Why is that an int? It's got to be a pointer. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm very confused. That is not an int. That is a struct. So therefore, it must be a pointer. Go doc. Endpoint. Where do you see that? Endpoint. Oh, it returns an OAuth 2 endpoint. Which is... okay, I forgot URL. Also, optionally specifies how the endpoint wants to client ID and secret sense. The zero value means auto detect. Got it. So, okay, I see what's up. So it's handing off the OAuth endpoint so that we can hand the endpoint off to OAuth. I mean, that probably goes without saying, but I'm saying anyway. Token URL. Just to make myself feel good, I'm going to run this again. Fuck you. Bullshit. I just show... Am I going to have to dereference this? Please tell me I don't. I don't understand. Oh my god, I am such a fucking idiot. I was returning the value of print statement because I'm drunk. God, I'm dumb. I am so dumb sometimes. Yeah. Wait, what? There it is. All right. Now. Filling in stuff. And now we have to, thank you for the help running. So now we're going to do something fun. Oh, this is so fun. It's just so fun. So we're going to make us a new OAuth thingy, which I guess we need an OAuth config. And I guess we need a CTX. I don't like that we have to make a new context. I already have one right there. Can I reuse that one? No, that's under provider, so it's not down here. It's not in the same scope. Okay, so we'll make a new one. CTX. Fuck it. I'm going to copy. I'm going to copy. I don't even care. You can complain all you want. I don't care. Look, people use ChatGPT. If they use ChatGPT, I can like copy and paste from the documentation. So there. You see how it cleaned it all up for me? Yeah, that's because GoPLS built into the Vimgo module. Don't need Vim that has PLS support. It'll work anyway. Anyway, we got a provider. We're not needing to print that anymore. I'll get rid of that. Endpoint, got that. We don't need that. Context background, got that. Conf, got that. Client ID. I already have this. It's called client ID. I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is. All right. Client secret. I don't have a secret. Do I need one? How about this? Scopes. oidc, yeah. OpenID. Don't I want that? I think I want that. I don't know why. I just think I do. Endpoint. Oh, hey, look, we already have one of these. You know why? Because we just got it. God damn, I see what they did there. I'm slightly happy about this. God damn it. Why are you not happy? 79. Oh. Wait, what? Wait, what? There we go. I might need a secret, even though secrets are ignored in the grant type token. It's a magic scope. A reserved name. Is it really? See, I did not know that. Zet create the magical OAuth2 scope OpenID. It makes all the oidc things in OAuth magically work. Why is my cert not saving? My Zettelcast has decided to go on strike. It's not saving for some reason. It's on a writer's strike. By the way, the writing for Daredevil is awesome. All the writers were Catholic when they were kids. I was not Catholic. I was Mormon. Close enough. What else? All right. So next, redirect the user to consent page to ask for permission for the scopes. Fuck that. We're going to use grant type equals password. Like a boss. Use the sorry for the swear word. Use the authorization code that is pushed to the redirect URL. No, this is like three-legged auth. This is the reason I don't want to use this. I doubt very highly that there's going to be an example of using token-based auth using oidc, which is grant type equals password. I doubt it. Comp author print URL. HTTP client. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Where do they get in the client? Context with value. OAuth. HTTP client. Wait a second. So they're using the OAuth HTTP client that we created up above. That's a key value pair, and the key is a type. That was blowing my mind. I am not used to seeing that, but there's no reason not to do that, I guess. Conf.exchange. I don't like the rest of this. I don't. It's all OAuth-y. It's all auth-y. It's not tokeny. I want an example of this that has token in it. Is there one? I doubt it. Why is Foursquare in here? Oh, it's like all the built-in OAuth shit for all the different services. Because we needed that in the standard Go library. Oh my god. What are we doing? Okay, so we got this done. We got our OAuth endpoint. But now what do? We got this beautiful config, and does it have an embedded HTTP client? No, we made a different context, so we don't have that anymore. And we have the URL equals auth code URL. Visit the URL for the auth dialog. I don't want to do that. This is cool, though. I see what they're doing here. If we have to use three-legged auth, which is the non-deprecated version where you don't have control of the back end and front end, then I get it. We'll use that. We don't want to use it right now. Use the authorization code that is pushed to the redirect URL. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Client equals conf that client. I think I can get away with using the contact client and passing the token as the username and password. That's entered in. I think, because that's what happens when we do the token one. Custom HTTP. We don't need that. This is an example that has custom HTTP. If we did our own TLS, we could do this, but we don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore. No, that's nice and all, but irrelevant. What I need to know next is, how do I do this for token? Yeah. It's going to be very, very hard to find documentation on this because it's deprecated. I still want to do it. It's funny because I was done with this in curl in an hour. And I can't. I don't know what to do here, my friends. I'm gonna have to go read docs on OAuth, which I didn't want to do, but gonna have to. Oh, wait. Endpoints. Maybe it has the token endpoint for oidc. Maybe the scopes for OpenID is included in here somehow. Wait. Wait, it says token test. Please work. Please work. Oh my god. Extra key test case, key value token. God, I hate testing.t. At least they're not pulling in testify, for God's sake. We don't need expiring tokens. The token is the password because I'm breaking the rules. I know exactly what the query string has to be. I just don't know how the Go code has to be written to produce that query string. I know, you know why? Because I already did it. This works. That's why I did it in curl first. This query works. It gives me exactly what I want. Yep. And that's why I suggest actually doing everything with OAuth or oidc with curl first. Because then you'll know exactly what's going on, and then it's a matter of interpreting the dumbass API that your language implements it in. Which they always suck. Can I just say, the languages that implement things that are not just a query string like curl always suck. There's like multiple levels of abstraction and everything that you got to resolve. That's exactly the problem we have here. And it's annoying. It's annoying because it's such an easy thing and I can't do it because I'm complaining. I'm sorry. Token, access token, token type. This is exactly what I want. I want one of these. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a get grep for anything that returns a token. There's a refresh token. Access. This is exactly what I want. All right. Get grep. I mean, this is a case. Somebody with Emacs is going to tell me that I could have done this faster with that. Oh, the token URLs are all there. We gotta read. Why would you dump all of these providers into this package? Oh my god. Oh god. There's a new client credential request. Yes, client credentials. Client credentials looks like it has something in it. Oh my god. Do you know what they've done? I don't want to do this. I know exactly what this is. I know because I read about it when I was writing my auth tool. They've built in an automatic detection for refresh token being needed, and like, so the client they've got an HTTP client that's all auth enabled. So every time you do a request with it, if it detects the refresh token has been expired, it actually re-requests it in the side. And I don't need any of that. I don't need any of that magic. I just want. Yeah. Using the provided token. Token source CTX. See that? This is what I'm talking about. This I've actually read all through this entire library. I now I'm remembering. When I wrote the OAuth thing, I had to read what it did. The problem with all of this is it's all web centric, and I'm not doing web stuff. One more search. Oh, I started a macro on accident. Doing it from Google. Oh, somebody wrote one. I mean, I'm not opposed to looking at it. We can get some ideas from this. We can go get some ideas from it. JSON makefile. God damn it. I'm already worried. Docker compose files with YAML with YML instead of YAML. And a huge ass unnecessary awk command. Not impressed. I don't know. Maybe it's worth getting ideas. This is a server. We want clients. Password. I don't see anything good in here. I don't see anything good. Oh, client credential. Oh, this is OAuth and not OAuth 2. Yeah, this is dead to me. Dead to me. All right, I'm going to type in client credentials. I hope they don't deprecate this in the API because it's not supported by OAuth 2.1 anymore. That'll be the death of us. I'll have to do it all by hand like I'm already doing. This is a grant type must be client credentials. Must be set to client credentials. Does not allow grant type to be overridden. Oh shit. This is 2018. What happened here? This is a big deal. It may be possible that the OAuth 2 library does not allow it. It'd be nice to be able to override this, although allow working on non-compliant implementations would change the... Brad, this is really old though. Yeah. Client cert grant types are bad anyway. It's an old bug. That's not the same thing. What is this? Is this even oidc? Shitty website with a bunch of... Using password grant type, use basic authentication key to generate a token. That's really a bad idea. Then to create basic authentication dashboard, stores username and password. Dude, this is a bad idea. Who wrote this? URL uses this special OAuth endpoint OAuth token. This is not even OAuth 2. This is old OAuth stuff. Yeah. That stuff's all been deprecated. Client credentials grant type. I don't want client credentials. That's a different flow. Somebody wrote a standalone OAuth 2 server. I wonder if it supports grant type equals password. I doubt it. Password grant type OAuth 2.0. This is someone's going to tell us, wait, this is a GitHub repo. What the hell? The password grant type is legacy, way to exchange user credentials. Client application has to collect user password and send it to the authorized server. Is not recommended to grant this to be used at all. Flow provides no mechanism for things like multi-factor authentication or delegate accounts. So it's quite limited. I don't give a shit. I need to do it. Latest OAuth 2 security best practice says don't use it. You know what? Fuck them. They don't have control of the client and the password. They're not thinking about enterprises. I've talked about this. How many times do I have to rant about this? So what the hell is this anyway? Grant typing with passwords OAuth2.net. Where the hell am I? This is documentation of some kind. I'm just trying to figure out where the hell I am. It tells me not to use it. Fuck you. And tell me how to use it. I want to use it with Go. Authentication. You know what? I'm just going to write a fucking HTTP request. I hate that I have to do that. I don't want to write my own request. You know what? Wait. Why not just make an HTTP request? I already have the HTTP client that's already been authenticated with TLS on the fly. I could just make a straight up HTTP request from the target URL, which has already been discovered through the well-formed discover URL in the new provider. And I have the URL. All I have to do is do an HTTP request and then parse the JSON data. Why the fuck am I even using OAuth for anything after that? The only reason to use any of the OAuth stuff after that is because you have to fuck around with like the multi-client stage flows or the multi-step flows. I should just use a straight up JSON. I should just use an HTTP request and populate the JSON and be done with it. I love this idea. I am going to take a break to think about it more. All right. So this kind of epiphany I just had is that all we really need to do is make a request. Here's the curl request that we need to do to get. The reason we're having trouble is because the OAuth2 library has been designed, the HTTP client inside of the OAuth2 library has been designed as a convenience. So anytime you make an HTTP request with it, it automatically, as I mentioned earlier, it automatically handles reissuing a token in the request properly in the headers and everything, so that it's constantly managing the refresh token and everything like that until the refresh token runs out. It's doing a bunch of OAuth2 webified kind of things behind the scenes. But the truth of the matter is that when you're using the deprecated, grant type equals password, as we are here, that it's just one request and one response. That's it. And it's just a bunch of JSON to parse. So at that point, the benefit we've already, so this is the thing that I kind of overthought. The whole point of using the oidc library from CoreOS, was because we wanted to play nice and use standard packages rather than grow our own, right? And in doing so, we read through the source code for the oidc.go library. We read through it, and the first thing that we benefited from that is when we did a new provider, we automatically were able to hand over our root CAs and stuff like that. We could have done it with just a regular client, but that's built in. And then when you do a new provider, it automatically does discovery at .wellknown. So this is just restating stuff that we already know, right? It's doing discovery at .wellknown, and it's populating the endpoint URL from the token URL and the auth URL, which is right here. So those two things come out of that, right? And they come out of that dynamically, and I suppose that buys us something. It's not a lot, but it's enough, right? We also are getting context in there, so we can trip up the context if we're not in the other one I was using HTTP without context. So it was harder to clean up. It would ever became, if any of this became part of middleware, which it's not, because it's just going to be a single keylogin binary. Anyway, so we benefited to some degree, probably not as much as some people like, from using the oidc CoreOS library, and that was the reason for using it, primarily to be a good citizen and use it, right? Now, the important thing to note here is that as soon as you get done with all your oidc provider stuff, you're in OAuth land. And so now you're using the OAuth package, and I've just reviewed the OAuth package over the last hour and ranted for most of it. Because why? Because all I keep reading in the OAuth package is all the reasons not to use grant type equals password. You're not supposed to use it. Don't do this. Can't find examples of it. And all I find is an HTTP client that's bloated and web-centric that does all of that, three-legged thing and automatic refresh updates and all that stuff. I don't need any of that. I don't need any of it. The only thing I need is a successful HTTP request to a TLS, potentially root CA enabled endpoint. That is it. That is all I need. So, it's been far one of the best streams you've ever seen. Shiko, that's very nice of you to say that. Stay tuned, it'll get worse. So, what I'm trying to say is I don't fucking need OAuth. Pardon my French. I don't need it. I don't need the OAuth package for this. Now, to be fair, I can piggyback and I can use the structs and stuff, like, for example, the token struct from OAuth 2, which is nice, and I can unmarshal into it. And I probably could get away with using the HTTP client that comes with OAuth 2 after you pass the and just pass a different grant type that doesn't pass off until the refresh tokens and everything. Maybe that's where I need to keep looking. Token sig verification yourself with a JOT library. I don't want to do that though. You know what? You're making a good point there, Muscle Me. Yeah. Yeah, if I have to do any token validation in the auth client library, then using auth2 would be the way to go. So we're kind of stuck. What we're stuck at right now is we've properly configured an OAuth2 configuration. We've got our endpoint. We pulled that out of oidc discovery. We've got a client secret. We don't actually. The client secret's irrelevant. We don't care because we're using grant type passwords. It's not client credentials, which you'd never give up your secret, right? And never compile it in there. Or we're not using regular auth standard flow. So we don't need that. We have everything necessary to make the request. We just can't make the request because the OAuth2 library is hiding it from me somehow. Check the Wisher MBF, a few other claims. Yeah. The truth of the matter is I don't need to check the claims because I pass all the claims directly through to Kubernetes. I just save the auth token without the claims or anything like that. I mean, I could validate the claims if I want. You know what? That's a good point, actually. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah. There's really no reason to do, in our particular case where we control the front end and the back end, we control the key cloak, we control the Kubernetes cluster, we have RBAC rules based on groups and claims, that there's really no reason to check any of that. But you could, right? You could. In fact, that's still built into my get token thing here, just to give you guys a sense of it. So this, dumps out this really, 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 really simple key cloak token that I made that doesn't have any claims really on it at all, has a few rules. And these things all get turned into RBAC rules, or they're used to assess RBAC rules and access and stuff like that on the Kubernetes side. But as far as the key login tool is concerned, which is the primary purpose of key login is one thing: put the access token and the refresh token in the kubeconfig file in a way that the end user can use kubectl without having to think about it later, right? And so they run the key login program locally, and then it modifies their local kubeconfig. Rather than generating a new one, it modifies their existing one. And that we haven't even got into that yet. To do that, by the way, you have to load the YAML and not destroy it and add your own stuff to it and then write it out. And the way I learned how to do that was by looking at the kind tool from Ben the Elder, which is absolutely brilliant. And so that stuff I've already done. I know how to do it. We're not there yet. We need to get the access token. The problem is we need to get the refresh token and the access token. We need to populate the OAuth.token struct with a request to an HTTP endpoint that we already have from oidc discovery. And the problem is that I don't know the fucking method to call on the OAuth2 library to get the HTTP request fulfilled. And that's where I'm at. That's what I'm struggling with right now. So what is the curl equivalent for an OAuth2 query? That's what I'm asking. You must validate claims. You read the spec. Yeah, well. See, I don't need to validate the claims at all because I'm going to pass them through. Yeah, Kubernetes validates all that stuff. Yep. So I don't care. It's just going to... In fact, it doesn't even come out of the encoded token at all. I don't even look at it, right? I just have to make sure that they're right and pass it on to Kubernetes. So that's why I've been able to get away with this. And quite frankly, I don't know how to make an OAuth HTTP request using the OAuth tool package. I haven't been able to figure it out. I'm still looking for it. I know there is this overly bloated thing that exists to do the three-legged thing continuously, but I don't want to use the HTTP client if I can get away with it. So again, I am trying here. I could probably find it. Just let me do a search. Let me do some searching. How to use OAuth to for oidc provider. I already have the oidc provider. Oh, we're definitely standards compliant because we don't need to check it because Kubernetes checks it, Ronnie. Yeah, Kubernetes definitely checks it. Yeah. Yeah. Microsoft Identity Platform, we're not doing that. Okta is a provider of IAM services. Authorize. I need to look at some Go. I should probably put example in my search thing. Yeah, exactly. I'm just acquiring a token. Exactly. Well put, Muscle Me. Yep, that is exactly what that is exactly the purpose. So, yep. Well said. What is all this Microsoft Identity shit? Okta comes up again. I don't need the URLs. I need to know the Go code for this. And it's probably just out there someplace, so I got to find it. You know what? I already wrote this code. Let me see if, except for I'm not using the OAuth HTTP client. So, question: is there an OAuth HTTP client? Yes, there is. Does it have to be customized? We already have the config. So I you know what? I think I answered my own question. Yeah, I think if we do, we're going to find it. Initial access token HTTP returned by whatever. Use the custom HTTP client when requesting a token. That's, I think, I must have skipped over it. I don't know how. We don't want custom HTTP. Okay, we got the config. Auth code URL. And this gives you URL, but this is not the. I don't need this. This is a state token URL. This is a part at which I wish I could inject to say, hey, I want grant type equals password and change the URL. But maybe there's something I'm missing here. So use the authorization goes push to the redirect URL. No, I'm not doing any of that shit. Why is it scanning the dollar code? Oh, it's none of this is relevant. What is this conf.exchange? What the hell is that? What is that? That's OAuth2 conf.config exchange. That might be the secret. I think exchange might be the secret. All right, let's look at this. Auth code URL client. Oh, there it is right there. Are you fucking kidding me? It has a method. The configuration struct has a method that returns a client based on the config. Oh, talk about shitty design. Password credentials token. Do you see this? What is this about? Password credentials token. Token source. I think I can just do this one. But then you have to pass the token. See, this is assuming the OAuth thing that I'm going to pass in the token. I don't have the token. I have to get it. So then I have to instantiate a token source before I can even do the rest of that shit. Yeah, watch. I remember reading about this when I was doing this other thing. This is the craziest design ever. So token, right? Token returns a token or an error. The token must be safe for concurrent use. So I have to implement a token source, which means I have to write an HTTP client request that basically does the HTTP as shit just to get the token so I can pass it off to its personal homegrown HTTP client as a token, just so I can play the OAuth. This is overwhelming evidence that I don't need any of this shit. I can reuse the OAuth2.token struct, and I can populate it myself with an auth type equals grant type equals password, because this has no fucking clue what grant type password needs. It's assuming I need to set up a token source just for a token where the token is the value in the end. I'm sorry, I'm getting frustrated. It's probably time for me to put this down, because this is like a fucking brain dead design. It's a totally brain dead design. And I'm mad. We get the endpoint, get a endpoint. Endpoint contains the resource server's token endpoint URLs. Here's a custom specified user server and yeah, blah. Redirect URL and scopes. We got that. Configure describes a typical three-legged OAuth flow. See that? A typical three-legged OAuth flow. I'm not using three-ed. Okay, I have to calm down. With both the client information and the server URL endpoint for the package credentials, it's just almost as if the people that wrote this have no fucking clue about all the other OAuth flows. It's like, hey, we're going to support the major three-legged OAuth flows that everybody uses on the internet, and the rest of you can fuck right off. For the client, I'm sorry, I'm getting upset. For the client credentials two-legged OAuth flow, we're not using client credentials. That's a totally different thing. With where secret is the actual password, which is totally stupid too. It's like, see the other one. And then what about the deprecated one? Oh, we're not going to cover that because it's deprecated. There's no support in the OAuth 2 for grant type equals password OAuth flow. Period. There's none. So, and the problem with that is that all of their terminology, such as token and everything, is specific, or it's to these other specific flows that are just one of 5 different supported flows. The OAuth 2 library only supports two password flow, two authentication flows, and neither of those. This is a horrible design. If they did this right, they would actually support all of them, and they would not have them interchanged and so intermingled the way they are, so that they can't be decoupled from one another. For me to even use their HTTP client, I have to have a token fucking provider instead of using the HTTP client to get the fucking token. I'm sorry, I'm just really pissed right now because this is a pain in the ass unnecessarily. It did not need to be this hard. Okay, I'll pick this up tomorrow. I gotta leave this. This is making me really angry. I love you. I'm not mad at you people. I am mad at how complicated this is. All I have to do is this one fucking curl requests with a very simple query string, and I get everything I need. I don't need OAuth 2. OAuth 2 can bite me because I am not playing, at least the package maintainers, they can bite me. I'll use the oidc thing from CoreOS in order to do discovery. The rest of it's going to be a HTTP client. And I got sucked into looking to it again. I was, at the beginning of this hour, I was like, oh, hey, I can just use my own HTTP client. I don't need all that. As long as I got TLS validation and root CA updated in the client source, I can do my own HTTP requests. I don't even need to use the fancy ass OAuth 2 HTTP client. And I was like, well, maybe they have something in here for that. And then the more I got looking into it, I'm like, look at how fucking brain dead their entire HTTP process is, because it's so centered on the three-legged OAuth, which permeates the whole web. Not to mention the fact that they have completely hard-coded Instagram URL three-legged OAuth, because that's more important than supporting the currently still supported but deprecated password type equals grant type equals password. We would rather spend our time supporting MailChimp's whatever. I'm just pissed because this package had so much potential to add support for the actual OIDC OAuth standard, and instead of doing that, they spend all their time maintaining these conveniences that are webified three-legged OAuth stuff, because that's the main standard. And let's just thumb our nose and completely forget and tell everybody to fuck off who was using LDAP authentication on the back end of their Keycloak, which includes the entire fucking enterprise. So Boris, I'm a little bit pissed. Boris is Boris is like, preach. Looks like I picked the right time to join. TF is happening. What is TF? I don't know what that is. What the fuck is happening? Or are you asking? Okay, I'm done. Let me just finish my wine and go about my business, and I'll watch Punisher for a bit. You know, look, this is yet another case where I try to be a good citizen. I try to use the supported standard packages, right? Despite the fact that the supported standard packages have Facebook in them codified forever. And, you know, and yet they don't support this standard OAuth 2 packages, deprecated or otherwise. The entire design and the entire OAuth 2 package is brain dead. It's totally brain dead. Rather than support all of the standard, they decided to do, I don't want to support this part of the standard. I'm just going to support the part of the standard that everybody mostly uses. And by the way, I will add 2 or 3 dozen specific corporations and their specific endpoints because it's just going to be convenient for everybody. Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? That's all I have to say about that. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I am not using OAuth 2 package at all, ever. At most, I will translate that struct into whatever it is that I need to do the rest of my query. If I'm using one of their baby, preferred 3-legged OAuth situations, maybe I will use it someday, but not today. That's all. All right. Bye, YouTube.